fantasy team from falling off the track. Football is back, Jack. Whether on the ground or through the air, when the chips are down and you throw a prayer, when your team is primed and on the hunt, it's 4th and 10, you refuse to punt. When the shoulder pads and helmets crack, that's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, football is back, Jack. This high is wild and out of control, and we're gonna ride it every week till we reach the Super Bowl. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack. Football is back. Football is back, Jack.
We've talked for a while around here about how time got sort of distorted at the start of the pandemic. But if you use that as a landmark, and we went back right to the start of the pandemic, and I told you, do you think it's possible in any circumstance where the greatest player in soccer would be playing in Miami at the top of his game for the championship in Miami, and that would happen quietly? Could you have imagined a scenario? Could you have concocted an imaginary scenario where Messi would play well and have his team within a game of the championship against Vancouver, and it happens quietly?
You don't think that, and this has been the case for a few years now with Inter Miami, you don't think they've done an extremely poor job at the promotion of their team?
They promoted Messi very well. It's been promoted all over town. I have felt the promotion of Messi everywhere. I have not felt the talk about this team and its championship chasing everywhere.
But Dan, how many times has Inter Miami come to you and say, you know, can we get someone on your show? Can we talk about it? How many times in the history of them existing here?
Yeah, but I'm
going to guess probably zero.
Okay, it's right. It's 0 times. But I also think that's less important than it's ever been. I think at this point, I don't think that these teams in general need the support of local media. They need support of their partners, but local media is not something. Look, I've seen at the games the way that the local media press seats have gone from courtside to the teams all realizing, oh, wait a minute, that's very expensive seating. Let's put the local reporters up somewhere else where they're not close to the action.
Dan, you mentioned partners, and we've talked about putting their entire season behind a paywall at Apple, and how that subscription service failed miserably to the point that Apple's doing away with that, and it just comes with your Apple TV. But not only do you get fewer eyes on your product, you lose a partnership. This is a cup final that used to be on ESPN back in the day. You at least get some daytime programming dedicated to promotion. ESPN, remember when Versus was a thing and the NHL went away from ESPN? The NHL essentially almost died because they were largely ignored by the worldwide leader. And now Messi and MLS are totally ignored by cable sports programming networks.
You mentioned the correct thing when you said baseball and hockey suffered from what used to be the biggest and only alternative, ESPN. We've had a lot change, though, in the last 5 years. And one of the things that I think has changed is these leaders in sports don't actually know how to react to a shifting tectonic change, and NBC is doing it very well. I've never seen Carmelo, Tracy McGrady, and Vince Carter on a pregame set. That's 3 Hall of Famers. I've never seen it before. So it's a golden age of sports television money. Last night on NBC for a regular season game, they had 3 Hall of Famers on the set, and it's something that I have never seen for a pregame show before, because Hall of Famers generally don't do that. Or if they do that, it's Scottie Pippen who does it poorly, and everyone at ESPN is excited to have him around. But when you talk about how it's shifted there with leadership, what's also shifted is the coverage of it. is so bad. For example, I'll give you an example, an easy example, but it's something that nobody's covering. It's being reported that the Bill Simmons move to Netflix is a hugely positive thing. And I understand that, why it would be reported that way. I assure you, Bill Simmons is not happy about that. He's an employee. He works for Spotify. They've done something to put his audience behind a paywall. He's worked very hard to build that audience. He has an idea of what kind of damage that can do to an audience. And what Apple and MLS and Messi underestimated is they thought, well, if it's Messi and Apple, surely there's enough money there to make all of that work. But we have a championship being played here. The playoff format is terrible. You can't go months playing the playoffs, and you can't go weeks without a game. That's ridiculous. Like, you can't do that. But beyond that, that's not the primary problem, because we'd wait for football. Even if football was doing it that way, we would wait for American football. The best player in soccer, the best player ever, is playing at the top of his game. He's dominating the sport, and that can't happen quietly.
You don't have a promo on Monday Night Football saying the MLS Cup is this weekend. During the big game of Ohio State and Michigan, you don't see promotion for the eventual MLS Cup final. I understand that it still needed to be sorted there. But Fox and FS1, say what you will about their daytime programming, I don't know if Nick Wright's going to dedicate any of his showtime to, hey, we have the MLS Cup
Spoiler,
final
no.
on Network Fox. The big thing about losing a partner like ESPN is, and MLS has data to suggest, whenever they did these big pieces about Zlatan and El Tráfico, those MLS games would do numbers. It's not on people's radar. They're so totally unaware because conventional sports in this country, the two biggest ones, pro football and college football, are not promoting it. This is why the ESPN WWE partnership is actually a good thing, not just because of all the money that they've made, but they've normalized talking about wrestling on daytime programming. MLS, in going over to Apple and taking the most money available to them, actually hurt their product because of awareness to the casual sports fan.
It's a good example. I mean, Stephanie McMahon was on ESPN Radio yesterday. How many times this year do you think anyone related to MLS has been on any kind of ESPN platform?
So there's a language issue, right? Messi's a notoriously bad interview in any language, but especially in English. Cody, you know this is a historic game. You've described this as a historic game.
Yes.
History doesn't happen quietly.
Yeah, I don't think that's historic. I don't think it's a historic game.
I think it's historic because pro soccer has been around in this town since the early 70s, and a half a century later, they're on the cusp of winning a championship. I think that's what makes it historic. But
it should be an historic game. How about
it
that?
should be. It should be, yes, for sure. But let's be honest. MLS Cup is drowned out by the NFL chugging toward its playoffs, by the college football playoff and all the controversy and debate around that. It just gets lost, and magnified by that is the fact that Lionel Messi is unlike any other athlete in the world. He is his own industry. He's in a cocoon. He's not available to anybody. Under normal circumstances, Lionel Messi right now would be doing interviews. He would be doing Spanish TV.
Did he used to do interviews when he played overseas? Like right before he came here?
Interviews with him are rare and
Messi
usually not very interesting. He does it. There's not a lot of access.
You don't need an interview to make Messi interesting. He's interesting because, to many, he's the greatest to ever do it. And he's astonishing when you watch him. He captivates you with his play, and universally agreed, the greatest player to ever play in that league by a wide margin. The story writes itself. The problem is no one's telling you the story.
50 years ago, it was Pele at the end of his career making soccer matter in New York, and he was bad. He wasn't any good at that point in his career. The point that Cody makes, though, is a good one. When you're a growing league, this happened with the WNBA, you can't play your championship games when important American football games are being played. Like, you can't have important playoff games in the middle of a Sunday when everybody who cares about sports is watching something else.
Right. Yes. You can't do that. And look, Messi is appreciated by people who know soccer. How about you make him known to people who don't know soccer that well?
Everybody, like, if you go up to anyone in the world, name one soccer player. It's
Greg,
either Messi or Ronaldo.
He's been promoted a ton. Look, I don't think I think I've got this right. I don't think there's ever been a player locally that I see plastered all around town, everywhere, like restaurants in Little Haiti, just more than Messi.
Number one for athletes, for sure. Number two in the market behind Andujar and Levine.
They have sold Messi plenty. This is not a sales problem. I don't.
No, it is.
I don't believe it's a promotion problem. I believe it's more scheduling and it's more paywall.
Paywall ties into the promotion in that you don't have a big-time partner that is known by sports fans. No one's going to Apple TV for sports, really. No one knows that as a destination. They don't have dedicated programming to promote those events. So I think that is a huge misstep. They don't have ESPN. If I'm MLS, I say, Messi, you have to go to First Take. Someone, you have to do this. You have MLS Cup, Taylor Twellman, someone help us.
Yes.
My point, though, is that I could put Luis Suarez on First Take as a controversial, polarizing figure. The paywall problem
Beckham's a one.
Is a bigger problem. The paywall.
Yeah, why can't Beckham do something?
The football, you can get your football for free. You can be broke and get football. You can do that. You simply cannot do that with Messi.
No, you can't do that with soccer in this country.
Right.
Soccer. If you want to be a soccer fan in this country and follow all the leagues around the world, you are paying through the nose on this stuff. But again, it's promotion. I know this is probably too much soccer already for our audience, but on Friday it's a huge soccer day because you have the national soccer media descending upon Miami because MLS Cup is here. It's Messi versus Mueller, Vancouver versus Miami. I might. I think that's a big game.
Okay.
But also on Friday is a World Cup draw emanating from Washington, D.C. So we'll have Tom Bogert, who is the number one U.S. soccer. Well, you will on Friday. He's the number one U.S. soccer insider, and he'll just be around here on Friday to help answer some of these questions for us.
In a year from now, more promotion around the city. If we could fast forward in a year from now, more promotion around the city. Lionel Messi or Davion Mitchell?
That's a great question.
Guys, you can't make this all about promotion. They have the best player there's ever been, if not at the height of his powers, not appreciably declining in the performance of the play that you're watching, in important games, 3 assists and a goal.
I don't think there's anyone in this studio or in our audience that knew this game was on Network Fox before I said it.
I did not. I did not.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did you know the MLS final was on Network Fox this weekend? But if we're going to do, before we get to yet more soccer, because it's a championship game and it's okay, we'll get to the University of Miami stuff in a second.
What happened with them?
I'm sure people are tired of that one as well. But I'd just like to quiz Chris and Roy here, just as local sports fans. Are you familiar with, could you get either one of the nicknames for either Inter Miami or Vancouver? Could you tell me what their nicknames are instead
the
of
Herons for in Miami?
Yeah.
Good thing
And the
Roy went.
Whitecaps?
Glad Roy went.
the Herons and the Whitecaps? That is
Really?
correct.
Yep, we both
How
knew that.
did you get the Whitecaps?
We both knew that.
I never would have gotten Whitecaps.
The Vancouver Whitecaps have been the Vancouver Whitecaps dating back to the NASL days in the mid-late 70s.
So he cheated.
Their
I
official
didn't cheat. What are you talking about?
Their official name is Vancouver Whitecaps. The Herons are a nickname. Vancouver Whitecaps are an official name.
I don't understand the distinction.
There is a
Because
that sport?
Yeah,
There's a distinction.
because they're not the Inter Miami Herons. They're just Inter Miami.
Yeah, but
there's a
everyone
hair-
knows that's their.
there's a heron on the
Everyone
logo,
knows.
I mean.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that Inter Miami is a Herons.
That's their thing. It's in their logo.
I mean, the official name of the team is right behind you, man.
I guarantee
in
you,
Spanish.
if you polled most people in America, they don't know that those are actually herons. They would say flamingos.
Yeah.
Or ibises.
what I would've guessed.
They might have guessed ibises.
Those
as well.
aren't the same thing.
Put it on the poll at
That's a good
Le
question.
Batard Show. Are herons, ibises, and cranes
Flamingos.
and flamingos the
Inter
same
Miami
thing?
cranes.
The same thing.
I think they are.
Put it on the poll as
Put me
well.
down for a yes.
There's a lot of cranes around that stadium in Miami.
At Le Batard Show. Yeah, I think they should be the Inter Miami Cranes. Yes. Put it on the poll as well at Le Batard Show. Did you know Inter Miami was the Herons, and did you know Vancouver was the Whitecaps? You're saying, Mike, I am stunned to hear you pull the parachute on too much soccer talk. after 20 minutes when there's a championship game that Greg Cody is calling historic. But let's go to Zaz here as the official decider on big game or not a big game. We're bringing in a soccer expert to our studios, so we're not talking about whether they're called the Herons and the Whitecaps, and we're talking about this more intelligently. Big game or not big game Friday, the Whitecaps against the Herons.
Well, the game's going to be played on Saturday, Dan. So
Yes.
if you tune in Friday, you may miss it. Inter Miami, Vancouver, Drive Pink Stadium.
It's not called that anymore.
It
Okay.
hasn't been for a couple of years.
Chase
Right across the street from empty graffitied warehouses.
and a Wendy's.
The MLS Championship, also known as the MLS Cup.
Usually known as the MLS Cup.
Lionel Messi
NL?
and them boys versus the Whitecaps and them boys. I'm going big game.
Oh,
I have been out on Inter Miami, but I'm going to be in Atlanta this weekend for the SC Championship, and I'm going to make sure that I watch it.
You're
So
not
if I'm watching it, that's a big game. Big game. That's right.
Yo,
Yeah.
chicken thigh.
What?
watch. You're gonna watch college football going on to big
You're not going to watch it. You're so full of shit. You're making it up. You were out on Miami. You were out on Miami because you just didn't want to cover them or pay attention anymore.
Caps and boys.
The Whitecaps and them boys. They're either the Whitecaps or them boys. They can't be the Whitecaps and them boys. Them boys are the Whitecaps.
No, but
Thomas Mueller
there's
and
like
them
one.
boys.
No, but there's like one, and he's like the main one.
Thomas Mueller's on Vancouver.
He is.
That's funny.
Don't look up his record against Messi head to head.
So
Now I want to.
last night, the committee got together and the wet sock came out again. And I believe he said the thing that should give Miami fans hope. I do believe that all of this is stupid. I believe we all are in agreement that NCAA leadership, such that it is, has been terrible for a long time. And this manifestation of it is the worst. And I'm kind of rooting for Duke to win because then they'll just stop doing it. Like if Duke wins the ACC championship and beats Virginia and gets into this playoff scenario with
They won't.
with 5 losses,
There's a good chance that they don't because they won't be ranked. And then
James Madison would make it.
Then you have James Madison
that
and
make you
whoever
feel better?
wins between
My boys.
Tulane and North Texas.
Duke wins and the Dukes get in.
it's just chaos and
It's terrible.
and it's dumb. It's look, this is what I know about sports, and I know obviously people are going to accuse us of bias because we feel like the Miami team is wronged. But what I do know about sports is that people do have at least the illusion that it's supposed to be a meritocracy. Like you could complain about the officiating and all sorts of things, but the scoreboard ends up telling the story that gives you finality. We have all sorts of imperfect measurement systems for our championships. All of them are imperfect. Basketball's is the best, but all of them are imperfect. There's going to be possibly champion of professional football this year that isn't actually the best team, is just the healthiest team at the end of the season that happens to win the game. One game samples are not representative, but they're the best we've got. And so we have the illusion of merit being the reason. It's not judges, and I think so. And let's get this athletic director to come out and try and talk for a month in front of the cameras more than he ever has, be more famous than he ever has been, be more polarizing than he ever has been. Let's get this sound. I don't want to remember this person's name. I don't know what his nationality is. I don't know.
He's a white man,
Yeah, but his
as most administrators in that sport
With
are.
a hockey name.
but his last name, I don't know what
Hunter
his,
Yurachek.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to give him this platform
say it.
of knowing his name. But I think whatever the ethnicity is or
He's a white.
the lineage is of that last name, the history of the last name, I think it stands for we're making this all up as we go along.
Okay, here is a really important factor, too, because you're still honoring head-to-head between Alabama and Oklahoma with the Sooners being up. But it has not carried the day for Miami and Notre Dame. Neither Miami nor Notre Dame play anymore. Among the teams who are finished playing, do not play this week, can their order flip next Sunday in the final rankings? Or is the order for the teams whose hay is in the barn, whose resume is complete, Are they set in terms of where they are relative to one another?
Great question, Reese. The management committee during the offseason provided some clarification to some comments that were made last year. And indeed, idle teams can move following the results of the championship games and how they impact the teams that are around those that play in the championship game, and data such as strength of schedule, teams that may be idle. So, yes, teams that are idle can move up or down.
Ho, ho, ho!
I think that's going to replace the hello in terms of your evolving from your father and making noises and sounds meant to indicate the pleasure of being right. I will not feel any better about this system if Miami gets in, but he just said the thing that will allow you to watch for another week, because all of this is just content to get you to the last 12 games when it becomes a beauty pageant.
So, Mike, you heard that last night, and that made you feel good, right?
If Texas Tech handles business, Miami's in. And all
Meaning
this is
because
stupid.
BYU, I thought Miami was going to jump BYU last night, but if BYU loses again to Texas Tech, then you believe that Miami will then move ahead of BYU.
I already know Jeremy's take on this, and I'll speak for him because I don't want to hear him talk. BYU is being done wrong here, and they're going to get penalized if they lose that conference title game. Normally, that is a credo of mine. You should not be hurt by losing your conference title game.
It's a quality loss.
But because it benefits Miami, you're changing your stance.
Well, that's because there's another life principle that I have that all football guys should have. If you're tied in record and you played head-to-head, the chief tiebreaker is head-to-head. So if you're going to normalize that not mattering, we're going to go ahead and normalize losing in the conference game mattering.
So just so we can clarify, if two teams played head-to-head in their season and they have the same record at the end, and it's a matter of whether or not they should get into the college football playoff, head-to-head should be the deciding factor, correct?
There are mitigating circumstances, though.
So the mitigating circumstances are that last year, when BYU beat SMU, you didn't think it should be the case. But this year, when it's Miami and Notre Dame, it should. And the reason is what?
BYU was not at all talked about last year in that cluster.
Oh, because they weren't talked about.
No, because they weren't talked about because they were not in that cluster. It was South Carolina, Miami, Alabama, and SMU.
All these teams with 2 losses.
Thank you for participating.
Now, it's really interesting, right?
Okay, can I add, though, real quick here? Like, I think you're probably right that if BYU loses again, this time in the Big 12 championship, that Miami would jump them. But why should BYU get penalized there? And I'm not saying why should they get penalized for losing in their conference championship, which I do agree that they should not. But why would they get penalized for losing in their conference championship to a team we already know
That's right.
they're not as good as, meaning Texas Tech? They already lost. We know Texas Tech is better.
I'll answer that question. They're being penalized, as you say, because the CFP basically admitted that they use buffer teams. That's why Alabama all of a sudden moved up ahead of Notre Dame. Juracek said the hot debate in that room for weeks has been Alabama versus Notre Dame. Yeah, that's what the national media has been arguing about for a month. Way to read the room. The BYU is solely there, so they don't have Miami and Notre Dame side to side.
Okay, so then it was the whole talk
It's been
about
bullshit.
tiers. It doesn't matter if you're in the same tier then. It matters if you're next to each other.
First off, tiers weren't a thing.
Right.
Then,
even though they told us they were.
Then tiers were a thing because we all learned about tiers together after the first week of the CFP.
But it's
okay, so then Miami had to move up a couple of spots to be considered in the same tier. They move up a couple spots. They were compared directly, but Notre Dame's still better. That was the most recent thing that we've heard. And now tiers are no longer a thing. I swear to God, I sound crazy. This is what they're saying.
You call it bullshit. And I do believe most people listening to this would agree that they're making it all up as they go along.
Yes.
That is absolutely what is happening.
This is what Bruce Feldman, one of the more respected voices.
Did he say the F
football.
word last night on television?
No, he was replying to a Kevin Clark tweet. 2 Miami Hurricanes cutting it up. This is also bleeping stupid. They just keep making it up as they go along. It's like the CFP committee is going out of their way to show that the sport is run by morons. I agree. And, yeah, I feel bad for BYU. BYU should probably be slotted ahead of these teams. But head-to-head, as Mario Cristobal likes to tell you, should matter. And you're starting to see the tide turn. You're starting to see Kirk Herbstreit come out and say, no, Miami deserves to be in there. Nick Saban, say it. Greg McElroy, say it. I woke up this morning and Jessica Smetana was tweeting
What'd
out
she say?
FEI ratings. They're shook because they know what's going to happen. I feel so good this morning because I know that if Texas Tech, a 13.5-point favorite, handles their business, Miami will be in over Notre Dame because
Head-to-head, Chris. Stop looking at your phone.
It's just wild to me that the BYU thing gets wiped away, right? Because this will be their fourth loss in 2 years. The thing that we're saying, Miami having 4 losses in 2 years without going to a conference championship game will be in the position to do, and that's why they're this aggrieved party. But BYU, a team that lost 2 games last year by a total of 8 points, didn't make it, wasn't even close to the conversation. This will be BYU's, out of the last 6 seasons, this will be the 4th season where they started unranked and finished the season ranked. And that's what's really hurting them here, is confirmation bias on the rest of these teams, because all 11 teams around them, the 10 ahead of them and Miami, all started the season ranked.
I get your
and
argument.
So you continue to move them up regardless of merit,
This is not
regardless
a BYU,
of how much
it's not a
you beat
BYU
them.
Miami thing. This is about head-to-head. Okay.
Okay, last year 9-1 BYU, 9-1 SMU, head to head.
You just said
those
8 points.
rankings
You
start
just
there.
said they lost by 8 points, and you touted that as a merit. They lost 29-7 this year to Texas Tech. By the way, that is more points than Miami has lost their last 4 games combined.
Okay, but an undefeated
So if you
Texas
if
team,
you
you lost 2
all right,
games
I'm not doing this
to
with you.
unranked
Miami's
teams.
in the college football playoff. Why am I doing this with them?
Okay,
It's because it just because it benefits you now doesn't mean that this process is done the
no
right
one's
way.
talking about BYU Miami. They don't matter here. They're named after a guy.
But they
this
should
is about
be.
Miami and Notre Dame. Stop it. Stop it. Miami beat Notre Dame. They have the same record. Miami's playing the best football they have all season. Shut up.
It's not just a guy. James Madison might have been just a guy. Brigham Young was not just a guy.
I
He
get
was
it.
more than a guy?
Like now you're caping up for Yormark. You're caping up for Brett Yormark. You're getting to a group of 5 guys in, Jeremy. The aggrieved UCF guy is being taken care of this year. Big boys are playing football.
This is, by
and
the
if
way,
you're
a power
football
4
guy,
conference.
if you're a football guy, you know head to head.
I want to talk for a second about just the conundrum that BYU has found itself in the entirety of my lifetime, because this goes back in my memory to like Lavelle Edwards having undefeated BYU teams that nobody respected because BYU was playing lesser opponents.
Right.
But I've told you this story before, okay?
Head-to-head.
One of the stunning results of my lifetime in college football was seeing Miami go to Brigham Young and lose, as I believe a defending champion, to Ty Detmer. And when they lost, I heard the single greatest explanation I've ever heard in a locker room for why they lost. Jesse Armstead, a professional linebacker who would be a top pick, said after the game that Miami was too fast and that Brigham Young was running its routes, and they thought that the routes would be run faster, and so their guys were out in front of the routes instead of like actually covering the receivers because they were too fast for Brigham Young. This has been an affliction. I would be, if I were Brigham Young, I'd be so consistently mad. Mike says it's not a national conversation, and it's because it's just happening on local BYU radio somewhere in Salt Lake City. Like, it's in Provo even. It's not even getting to Salt Lake City. It's just in Provo.
Nobody nationally cares about BYU, let's be honest. And here's the thing about the CFP. It does matter. Reputation does matter. That's why Alabama survives losing to Florida State, because they're Alabama. And by the way, Miami would have won the ACC tiebreaker and been in the championship game had FSU finished with a 6-2 conference record instead of 2-6. So it's hurting Miami, but it's not hurting Alabama. The whole process is weird. Louisville and here's another one. SMU and Louisville would be the 4th and 5th toughest opponent on Notre Dame's schedule. Nothing makes sense here unless Miami gets in the CFP.
You have mentioned Alabama here, and I want to know if something is accurate because I saw Kirk Herbstreit saying, while putting up a link, that Alabama is now changing its schedule, that Alabama is going to do what this entire system is going to cause, which is don't play any difficult games out of conference. You're an idiot. You're not going to get rewarded for it. You're going to get penalized or penalized.
You could get rewarded. If you win.
Yeah, if you win the game. But when you mention the allies you did, Mike, I noticed you chose purposely credible allies. You're going to have some difficulty with Marco Rubio now coming to your side. He is an ally of yours, Mike Ryan.
That's your boy.
And
He is, just like Governor DeSantis.
And he is now talking to next to a Donald Trump who is clearly sleeping throughout everything he's saying.
This, and I know I'm last, so I wanted to be fast, but there was a lot to cover. I do want to say this is the most wonderful, magical time of the year. By that, of course, I'm referring to the college football playoffs. And I just want to say this as a point of personal privilege. And I'm a Florida Gator, but if the University of Miami gets screwed out of the college football playoffs after going 10-2 and beating Notre Dame, the whole thing should be scrapped, and you're going to have to take over it next year.
He kind of woke up when he said that.
More power? I can have more power. Yes, that's he said he agreed with it. He co-signed it. He's like, that is a good idea.
Just smirk.
Yeah, put me in charge of more things. That's going well. I'll just bomb some boats.
Marco's son plays for UF. Didn't know that.
Can I potentially pour a little bit of cold water on the theory that Miami is going to get in if BYU winds up losing, because Hunter Yurachek said that, teams could still move up and down after conference championship week, even if they're idle. He also mentioned there that that's based on strength of schedule being affected because the conference champions. So does that mean a team like Miami, whose strength of schedule is not affected because of anything that happens in conference championship games, is actually not what he's talking about?
You could be talking about Notre Dame. Boise State's playing for a conference championship. Boise State, not your father's Boise State, but they're playing against UNLV. They're favored by 3.5. They could become a Mountain West champion, and perhaps that's enough if Miami gets up there next to Notre Dame. But Miami and Notre Dame, by every conceivable metric, are very close.
I have a couple of questions for you guys based on what we're talking about. Was there evidence from last night that the committee is positioning itself to allow Alabama to lose a close game to Georgia and still get into the playoff?
That's all that was last night, was to protect Alabama if they lose a game. Like, the only way Alabama is affected by what happens in that game is if they're embarrassed.
All right, so the second question I have is, give me more information on Marco Rubio's kid playing at Florida. He is small,
He works
correct?
hard.
He has to be small, but he has to be physically small. Marco Rubio fits in my pocket.
Anthony Rubio is 5'9", 191 pounds.
What position does he play?
He's a running back.
He's a running back with what kind of bona fides? What kind of high school credentials does he have? Is he on scholarship? Has he scored?
5.4 yards per carry. Now that's on 5 carries. But I'll go ahead and figure that out from high school. But that is with the Gators last year.
Is Marco
he had 6
Rubio
carries
small?
the year before.
Yeah,
He's tiny.
Really?
Well, if he fits
Seeing he
in
went
my-
to Berlin.
If he fits in my pocket.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of pocket you're wearing that day. Whatever, man.
Got small hands as well, according to Trump.
Cargo shorts.
If you can get me any more information on Marco Rubio's son, I'd like to know if they're just giving him political gifts in the backfield, they're giving him carries for touchdowns late in games just because there's some. Well, I don't know how he's gotten that 5.4 yards per carry average on 5 carries. I'm assuming it's by blowout. I blame Florida for Miami not being in the playoff, because that would be a quality win for Miami if beating Florida meant anything this year. Losing to Florida is keeping Texas out of the playoff.
I'm seeing Marco Rubio's son was 3rd team All-Dade his senior year. He chose Florida over scholarship offers from Buffalo, Charlotte, and Bryant.
Sounds like he's a walk-on.
Tough decision.
Maybe he's a priority walk-on.
Belen, and back a long time ago when my friends played at Pace and Columbus, I will not forget their reaction when they went to play against Edgerrin James. And he was in the backfield, and and he's carrying 6 of them into the end zone on his shoulders because he's just much bigger than everyone who's playing for. Let's pair these 2 sounds here, these 2 Cody sounds of being right and how good it feels to feel right. We've got, that's yours, very Christmassy, very Santa. I'd like to hear that with Diana Rossini's kids, but also I'd like to hear your dad. Which of these is better as a form of passion and excitement about being right? Chris, why did you get that excited that you summoned a hysterical, joyful Santa?
When I'm right, I like it.
Doesn't happen often.
Maybe that's why.
Also, the Panthers have the last playoff spot, got smoked by Toronto, and are in a very good team.
Well, the shell of themselves. 7 players are out right now with injuries.
Yeah, but Roy, you spoke to something before the show. Bob, been bad.
Yeah, he has a 883 save percentage, a 289 goals against the average, adjusted to 3.06. So
That
he's giving
sounds
up
bad.
3 goals
Really
a
bad.
game.
It's bad, Dan.
But he has goals saved above average, -5.
That can't be good.
And I want to clear up something that Dan said. He said that they had the last playoff spot. No, they're bottom of the Eastern Conference right now. But, you get hot for 3 games and you're right back in playoffs.
How many points are they out of the final playoff spot?
Well, let me see how many games in hand that they have.
like a
too.
9-way
And,
tie.
It looks like, Dan, you're not going to believe this. The Florida Panthers have come full circle. They are just 5 points out of the final playoff
Wow.
spot.
Just
We're
like the old
back.
days.
They lose last night 4-1 at home to Toronto, and Bob can be forgiven for not taking the regular season real seriously, right?
I told
Not this year.
I told Roy.
No,
I said there's literally nothing that guy can do to not start the first game of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, he could be worse than he's been the first half starting game 1 if we make that. I mean, granted, if he is worse, we won't make the playoffs. But
This is the year you need good Bob, not bad Bob, right?
Yeah, especially with all the injuries that they have.
Yeah.
No, I would say the last 2 years is the 2
In the
years
playoffs.
they've needed good Bob, not bad Bob. It's totally fine for it to be bad Bob the first 25 games of this season.
The year when they're hammered by injuries anyway.
You got guys going out with barbecue injuries. I mean, it's ridiculous that what's happening to the Panthers this year. And another thing, the home ice advantage has disappeared. I think the Panthers have lost like 4 of their last 5 home games or something of that nature.
It should be noted, Florida's a bit of an older team, and the schedule is a lot more congested this year because of the Winter Olympics.
Bobby.
Didn't need to be noted, I didn't feel like.
Bobby.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Nick Wright is going to join us here in a second. He's got to be in a state of near total despondence. He has been for many years crowing because he's had the football team of a lifetime to support. He has become friends with players on the team. They love what an ardent supporter of the team he is, and they had a bad loss against Dallas, and they could have lost to the Colts. He was hopeful after they played the way they did against the Colts. They lose at Denver, and now are you done, Nick, with the season? Like, are you still holding on to some sort of hope, or are you checking schedules and being like, well, the AFC is super weak, and if they get to the playoffs, they'll still have the best quarterback in the playoffs?
Well, if they get to the playoffs, they'll win the Super Bowl, but now they have to get to the playoffs. And hi, Dan. I mean, it's Wednesday. They haven't played in 6 days. I didn't know we were going to lead with the Chiefs, but cool. No problem. It's the most topical thing. I mean, 4th greatest point guard in the history of the NBA gets sent home. We could discuss that. There's a lot of things we could get into, but in Miami, fighting for its life college football playoff, does head-to-head even matter? A topic right up your alley, Lane Kiffin lying allegedly, going to LSU. There's a lot of more.
Don't deflect here, Nick. Nick, when your team wins,
it's
you're not talking about the
They
zeitgeist.
played on Thursday. I'm just telling you. It's just how the calendar works. We move forward, but
no, the biggest story in that sport is every week is when the Chiefs lose. It's the biggest story every week in that sport.
I agree every week, and that was last week, Dan. But it's fine. It's your show, so I will deal with it.
Is it fine though? Are you dealing with it? Because
deal.
you come in whimpering and hot because you are, for the first time in a while, a bit of a loser.
I am a bit of a loser. This son of a bitch. You're right. You know what? You're right. I am a loser.
A bit of a loser, not a total loser.
Right.
Just for the first time in a long time, your football team is a bit of a loser.
Well, the football. I'd rather you call me a loser than them.
Well, you're associated with a loser.
Cody.
Yeah.
Relax.
Couldn't be more relaxed.
Here's
My
the
team's
deal.
almost as bad as yours.
Okay. Oh God. All right, so there's a
one game
lot
back.
to unpack here. And I know what you're trying to get at is how this swoon that I didn't see coming has impacted me emotionally, but really more so financially. And the answer is as bad as you thought. One of my buddies that I bet with yesterday texted me. I'm just going to read you the text. It's real quick, and then I'll give you actual football analysis. But this is what you want. This is from my great Argentinian poker pro, Nacho Barbero. I don't mind telling you this. This is what he texts me. Can you Zell? I say yes. He then writes, no more betting for you, bro. I don't want you to. Feel bad. You can't just keep betting the Chiefs more and more. They don't have it this year.
He feels bad for you? You've
we'll
got
see.
wait a minute. He's taken to pitying you?
Well,
He's cut you off?
I mean, I know DraftKings does no sweat bets sometimes and parlay insurance. You never really see that from the standard bookie. That's great.
Well, he's not. The thing is this: he's not a bookie. It just, if we're on opposite sides of a game, we bet as friends. But that, when you're on DraftKings, every once in a while they send you that little alert. They're like, hey. I think they're like, hey, let's reality check. You don't really get those when you're just WhatsApping in a private gambling consortium. Neither here nor there, Dan.
It's such a... You just told on yourself so bad that you're getting those prompts. Hey, is everything all right, Nick? I've never gotten one of those.
You haven't? I thought they were automated.
I am not your volume.
It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter. As I texted Nacho, I've got plenty of money. Don't worry about me.
It sounds a bit like an intervention. It's not your bookie. It's just a friend worried about you.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Again, nobody cares about me. I'm a vessel to give takes on sports. Let's talk about the team. So here's the deal. It's very, very simple. They are I believed in the Chiefs last year when the metrics were terrible, but they won these games. Now, last year, Dan, you know what? I'm just going to go full-on attack.
Go on.
Last year, Dan, you and others folks that wish that we didn't even, the way we figured out who the Super Bowl winner was a total point differential of the season plus DVOA rankings plus see what Barnwell and Mina and Solak think and then just hand them a trophy. You guys last year all were like, actually, your team's not that good. They're 15-1, but they're actually not that good. Well, by that logic, this year, Mahomes number 1 in the EPA. They're top 5 in all of the smart stats. They have a great point differential. They're a great team. However, because I, unlike the nerds who think they understand football, actually understand football, winning is a skill. And this year's Chiefs team has found ways to lose no other Chiefs team has in its history. It has in the Mahomes era. It has the bones and a lot of trademarks of really good teams, but they can't get off the field on 3rd and long. The fumble at the end of the game when Dallas tried to give it to Kansas City, they couldn't get to. Those moments are what decide championships. So right now they're up against it. With that said, if they win out, they are guaranteed to make the playoffs. And if that happens in the wide open AFC, then of course they'll go back to the Super Bowl and be the most dangerous team. However, this weekend, they are playing the best defense in the NFL, in my opinion. They won't have their starting left tackle because he got his wrist broken by his teammate helping him out with a block. And they might not have their starting right tackle. So here is where I am with the Chiefs. They could lose this weekend. If they do, they're done. If they win this weekend, if I talk to you next week, what I will say, and I could take a polygraph to attest to it because I will believe it in my bones, what I will say is, if they beat the Chargers the following Sunday, steady themselves and then have those tiebreakers over Houston and the Chargers, and then in that point, maybe have a game to play with, they're going to go back to the Super Bowl. So they're a game away from being a game away, but for a team that hasn't faced any regular season pressure in 8 years, there's a lot riding on this weekend, and there was a lot riding on the Denver game, and they lost it, and there was a lot riding on the Dallas game, and they lost it. I have one unbelievable stat for you, and then you can take your show back.
Let's give him the stat of the day music, Chris. Please get out of your phone and get him the stat of the day music. Thank you.
Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This is start of the day.
Thank you. 3 times this season, Patrick Mahomes has led a fourth quarter comeback in a game he ended up losing because the defense then gave the lead away. 3 times this season. That Tom Brady did not have that happen to him 3 times in his career until year 15. So that's the other piece of it.
What are you describing as the last few minutes of the game? Like what?
No,
is the
just trailing in the fourth quarter, go take the lead, and defense doesn't hold it. The third time that happened to Brady, it was 2014. It was the 15th year of his career. That has happened to Patrick 3 times this year. And that fundamentally, if we're actually going to get to, the actual football issue with this Chiefs team, since they traded Tyreek, they have been 3rd best in the NFL in 3rd and long defense. This year, they are 4th worst. They have the 4th fewest turnovers forced. They have the 6th fewest sacks. They got the Cowboys to 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 all game long, like they did the Chargers, like they did the Broncos, like they did the Jags for that matter, and they couldn't get off the field. And that's the problem.
Chris,
what is Roy laughing at? Someone in the back must be making fun of me.
No, Chris is still in his phone, and he knows. Roy knows I need sound, and Chris is in his phone. Can you get me the sound? Explain to me what your coach was saying here. I was surprised to hear Andy.
Tickle the tonsils?
Hold on a second. Explain it to me.
We're going to try to tickle your tonsils on every play, every game.
I don't know.
His little smirk. He has like a little laugh after he says
I think he knows. Listen to the laugh through the gravel. Listen to the laugh. He laughs at himself because I think he does know.
We're going to try to tickle your tonsils on every play, every game.
I think he knows sometimes you say something and you're like, oh, that came out weird. And so I think that's what he knew. It was like when our show a couple weeks ago, one of the greatest men I've ever known and devout man of God, Chris Broussard, we were discussing the New England Patriots having a better wide receiver core than we anticipated. And Brew just said, matter-of-factly, no, man, Booty is nice. And then we all just sat there like, and so he wasn't trying to make a joke, but it just came out that way. I think what Andy's saying is, we're going to continue to try to put pressure on you and push the ball down the field and play an exciting brand of football. Here is what again, we're going to do the whole thing on the damn Chiefs. Here is another thing that I found interesting. For the first time in Patrick's entire career, at the post-game press conference after the loss to the Cowboys, he didn't take it one game at a time. Like he's always done the cliche next week, that's it. He said, we have to win the rest of our games. Andy, in that press conference you played, was somewhat defiant the whole time, basically saying, we know what we need to do and we're going to do it. The glass 1 quarter full view of this is the Chiefs have been a superb home team this year. They're 4-1. The one loss was in week 2 to Philly when they weren't whole and they had that game and the ball bounces off Kelsey's hands, turns into a pick. Their 3 games against good teams, Texans, Chargers, Broncos, are all at home. They have been an awful road team. Luckily, they play the second worst team in football, the Raiders at home, and the worst team I've seen in the NFL in 10 years, the Tennessee Titans at home. So there is a path, but it is this narrow, and that's the only way they get in the tournament. They get in the tournament, then they're all of a sudden the hottest team with the experience in the most wide open AFC ever. To me, the biggest story about the AFC this season, other than the Chiefs, every team that won 12 games last year is worse this year. Philly is worse. The Chiefs are worse. Detroit's going to miss the playoffs. Baltimore's far worse. Minnesota fell apart. Buffalo is, and I'll get to them in a second, at least a little bit worse. And there's one other team I'm leaving out that I forgot. All those teams regressed. To varying degrees.
What's happened to Minnesota is crazy. Like, we were talking at the beginning of this season of Kevin O'Connell being a quarterback whisperer. Now look how far behind everyone in the division they are.
Well, you can't be a quarterback whisperer if your quarterback's deaf. So what I was gonna say is, if you're Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, and you don't make the Super Bowl this year, it's assuming the Chiefs miss the playoffs. It's a Shakespearean tragedy. Burrow's missed most of the year. The Ravens are a disaster. By the way, I need to check in again with the smartest people that cover football that have explained to me how over the last 3 years, Lamar Jackson, if he never ran, was the best quarterback in football. He's the most refined pocket passer. We all need to accept that and recognize that. I wonder how they have taken this last month where the guy has a foot injury and all of a sudden people aren't afraid of him running and he's 14 of 28 for 104 yards, 0 touchdowns every week. Curious how that's landed again at the smartest people's desk. But if Josh Allen, and I think they will, by the way, if the Chiefs miss, this has to be Josh's year. There's a very 2008 feel to the season, the year Brady blew his ACL, Peyton didn't quite have it, and it was wide open. And I wonder if Josh can step through that void.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Would you be okay with Mina, Barnwell, and Solak just handling all the CFP rankings? Let's talk about other things outside of football. You mentioned Chris Paul. I've been delayed in doing this. In the middle of the night, the Clippers, who are god-awful and will end up making OKC the champions for the next 10 years because they're god-awful. Send home Chris Paul. This was supposed to be a retirement tour, kind of.
Yeah, I don't get it.
There has to be more here, right? Like, behind the scenes, Chris Paul, while a pillar professionally in front of us, he has been a union leader and someone who a lot of people think that behind the scenes does some things that don't end up in public. The Clippers sending this person with this resume just home in the middle of the night, what is that about?
Well, so I woke up to it, as well, and I have no idea, but it is bizarre. It is, and then they sent out conciliatory messages. Lawrence Frank, was like, we're not blaming Chris for the position we're in. But then Bobby Marks explained how this doesn't actually really give the Clippers a bunch of extra flexibility. This is all-time bizarre. So I apologize. When I was flailing at the beginning when I said I thought you'd want to talk about Chris Paul. I don't have actually anything inside. I was just throwing things. I
thought you were begging me to ask you about it.
No, I just didn't want to do 20 minutes on the Chiefs, Dan. I will say this: this is something I have a take on. Everyone complaining about LeBron staying in that game to get to double-digit points is a liar. So here's what I mean. I don't think anyone actually is bothered by it. I think people just understand that they can pretend to be bothered by it. And I think we would go 100% at people privately if you ask them, did this actually bother you and why? they'd be like, no, I don't care. Have 6 minutes left.
I think it bothered Zaslow yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, I think the part.
He's lying.
No,
and I'm saying he's lying.
You don't ever call me a liar. I always tell the truth, even when I lie.
I didn't call you a liar. I said you're lying.
I think what happened there, I think what people are upset about is the hypocrisy of it, where the night before.
You swallow your H's
the
too.
hypocrisy?
Pow! The hypocrisy.
Okay,
Yeah,
we just
again,
heard
so you did it
hypocrisy.
twice again.
It's an hypocrisy.
Okay, all right. The
I own an apothecary store. Go ahead.
The hypocrisy of it is the night before, which is the first night of a back-to-back, LeBron, because he's old and they want to save him and they want to maximize his availability, sits out that game. Well, are you maximizing his availability if he's in the middle of the fourth quarter down by 26 points?
So this is where I'm saying you're lying, and I will say it. Do you actually think there is any relation whatsoever to the rest LeBron James gets from knowing at the beginning of a day, I'm not playing tonight. I don't have to do the 5 hours to get myself ready plus play in the game. That's in one bucket. And the other bucket is, hey, in a game you've already played in, we are going to let you stay out an extra 90 seconds of game time to take a couple threes. Do you think those are at all similar in wear and tear on the body? And the answer to that is, of course, no. But folks who have made it either a small part, and maybe in your case, and in other people's folks, the entire part of their public brand is like, oh, there's something, something possible that I can say LeBron did that I don't like, even if you don't actually care.
Well, now I'll ask you one more thing then. If he was already at 10 points, would he have been in the game at that time?
Probably not.
That's right. Probably
so
not.
what?
Yeah,
so what?
Everybody knows. See, that's the thing. This is the second time, Zaz, I'm going to do something that I think can be very uncomfortable for people with your argument style. Finish the thought. Yes, I agree with you. He would not have been in if he had 10 points.
So then is it about a record or is it about maximizing availability? That's my point.
But so again, hold on. Are you saying that you think his availability for the next game or the rest of the season or any amount was impacted by him jogging up and down the court for an extra 90 seconds and shooting that three?
No, but then why?
Okay, exactly. Then you're dumb.
No, but then why, if he had already extended the streak, would he have been out of the game?
Hypocrisy.
No.
Hypocrisy.
It's an outrage.
Zaslow, because he stayed in the game to extend. What you're saying.
A record, by the
makes
way,
no
that
sense.
nobody cares about. Can we agree on that? Nobody.
Well,
cares.
everybody. It's like most NBA records. It was hallowed and untouchable until LeBron blasted it. It was.
I don't even know what the record is. I don't know who had it before. I don't know what number.
Hold on. See, and again, all right, now Zaslow, you know what? I'm now just going to call you a liar. That is something.
You have a nerve.
An obvious lie.
You have a lot of. I have no idea what the record is.
No. That part, I believe. You said, and I quote, I have no idea who held it before.
I had no
You're
idea.
lying.
You're saying it was Michael Jordan? I had no idea.
Well,
It's a completely inconsequential record. Double-digit point streak? Who cares?
Then why are you demonizing the record if you don't care about it?
Because there's an hypocrisy. I thought players, we need a rest. He didn't play the night before. It's very important to be available. Unless I only have 7 points down by 26. Come on.
This is so. The guy who's played more games, more minutes, been more available than literally any athlete in the history of the sport. You're banging on him for not playing the front night of a back-to-back while also banging on him for staying in a game an extra 90 seconds. Just admit it, bro. You're not over that he left you.
No, that's not true.
It's been 10 years.
No, I'm
man.
very grateful for LeBron's time down here. My career is not where it is without LeBron being here. I'd be an ingrate if I wasn't grateful. I'd be a major
ingrate. I can't imagine
ingrate.
feeling that way. I gotta go.
Okay, see you later. I wanted to ask you an assortment of other questions, but what's
Ask him
right
about MLS Cup?
What's right with Nick Wright?
Or
You're gonna,
BYU.
Fox.
You're going to talk
MLS
about
Cup on Fox.
You're gonna.
But Dano, I had a hard out 3 minutes ago. I hate to do this to you. I have to go. I'll see you next week.
See you later. Host
Don't ever
of
call me a liar.
FS1's. It's too late for that. He's the host of FS1's First Things First. He's also the host of What's Right with Nick Wright, the podcast he does with his son. Just called you a liar right to your face.
I know, but then I owned him in our discussion.
Did
So
you?
it's all good.
Did you?
I did. You should go back and listen. You clearly weren't.
Okay. No, come on.
Tremendous.
Nick's right. I got to go on Nick's right. Nick right. He's right. You were wrong on this one. Eat it.
Because?
Own it. Because there's nothing wrong with LeBron James wanting to continue a 10-point streak.
I agree with that part.
Okay. Then why are you faulting him for staying in the game?
I told you because of the hypocrisy involved
There's no hypocrisy
with
there.
making sure that we rest. Well, why would you play in a blowout late in a game if being available is the most important thing? It's not more important, though, than records.
I don't want to do this again. We did it once, and I believe we got the dismount we needed when he simply called you a liar. Thank you for getting out of your phone, Chris, long enough to hit some of those buttons. I appreciate it. What is happening right now at Penn State, I believe, is something that people should be paying attention to, because if you fire James Franklin just because he lost to Northwestern, you have to have a plan after that. You can't be the first one to fire your coach when everyone's going to do all this stuff of fighting for coaches. Today's National Signing Day. Penn State's recruiting class is the worst. Like, they don't have order there, so they're in a position where, however good James Franklin did make them, and Penn State was at the center of the single biggest sports scandal of my lifetime and recovered from it in a way that was a little faster than I thought, given everything that happened there. And it's why James Franklin was as wanted as he was, because he repaired everything about Penn State except for winning some of the games at the end that they expected him to win, because they wanted to go even further after the biggest scandal I've ever seen in my sports lifetime. The fact that they are in complete disarray and that they've got a bad recruiting class and they've got what can be said about how it is that their power is getting in the way of doing this correctly, like their leadership that you have.
That Penn State's a kooky place. Happy Valley is strange. We know that about this place. There's a lot of old school Paterno people that have a lot of influence, and you kind of have to check certain boxes to get a lot of influential people in your camp. But what happened to Penn State is pretty fascinating in that the reason why all these other schools are hiring coaches and they hadn't was they had their guy. They had him locked up. Their guy was playing in a conference championship game of consequence, so that's why we hadn't heard anything about it. And Kalani Sitake,
that's the BYU guy,
the head coach of BYU, left them at the altar because the CEO of Crumble came to the table and gave Sitake an offer he couldn't refuse.
The cookies are good.
They are. And now the team that had the longest runway is scrambling to fill what was thought to be one of the more
so much time.
what was thought to be one of the more desirable head coaching jobs in the history of the sport. Today is National Signing Day, as Dan announced. They have the worst class in the Big Ten, and it isn't by a little. Every single person that committed to James Franklin apparently didn't care about Happy Valley because they're all going to Blacksburg. There's no loyalty amongst those recruits to Happy Valley. So right now, where does Penn State go from here? A couple names that I've heard, more coaches that have played in that are playing in conference championship games. We have to remember Manny Diaz is actually rated by those people because he did a good job as defensive coordinator. Seems to be doing an okay enough job at Duke. So as a plan D, I guess, Manny Diaz, and Jeff Brom's another name. Jeff Brom's at his alma mater. I think if Jeff Brom leaves, it might be for the NFL, but Penn State is a really good job. And they may be panicking here, but I cannot believe that Penn State has found itself in this situation.
Shouldn't have fired James Franklin. Period.
There is debate to be had around that because people were fed up about the fact that the last 3 games of James Franklin's career, he seemed safe, and then losing to Northwestern is the thing that got him gone. But I want to examine some of what it is that's happening in college football, because if you're Oklahoma State, which has been terrible for the last 3 years, everything collapsed on Gundy, and you want to get back in the game, you just take North Texas's coach and quarterback. I guess we've kind of gotten used to that, even though it doesn't seem like any version of college football I've seen before. But the idea that players would follow James Franklin to Blacksburg and choose the coach over a program of the pedigree of Penn State makes it so you've made almost fundamentally irrelevant what the program is. Like, it really is now about, is Lane Kiffin outside your building trying to steal your children? Like, it's just, what's the one guy, if you can get Mario Cristobal and he's going to be the guy who gets the players, it doesn't matter if he can coach. It doesn't matter if he can call plays. Nothing matters except, are you good at convincing 17-year-olds to follow you any place in the country?
Talent acquisition is the name of the game right now. Also, being in a big conference helps because revenue goes to that whole talent acquisition thing.
Yeah, like they wouldn't be following him if he went to a G5 school, right?
Look, there's a real possibility here that Penn State ends up hiring one of the better talent recruiters in the nation, a guy that's, as we mentioned, stealing their entire class and taking them to Blacksburg, and they're replacing that guy with Manny Diaz, and that couldn't have been the outcome that people envisioned.
But how did we get exactly to the point, for all the consternation that we have about talking, because what we've seen over the last 10 years is indisputably minor league football has become the second biggest sport in America. Saturdays are the second biggest day in sports. Football Saturdays are the second biggest day in sports. It tops baseball, World Series, hockey, Stanley Cup, basketball. Saturdays are enormous. When did it happen? Landmark it for me. Where James Franklin is more important than Penn State. That James Franklin is the one that travels with the players. James Franklin rehabs himself and the program in Penn State and then just takes it all with him. That in my lifetime has not been the case, that there can be all sorts of upheaval in the coaching position, and when a coach leaves, it's always bad for recruiting. That's always been so, but it's never been so that the coach can just take Penn State's recruiting class to Virginia Tech.
But isn't it the money? Like that's the big thing.
The money. It's the money. I think the moment in time that you're looking for is either Petrino going back to the college game and leaving the Falcons, or Saban leaving the pros for the college game, which started this whole arms race for high-priced coaches that come to your program and promise one thing: we're going to have the talent. And then, people started cheating and the SEC totally blew up, and now everyone's jealous of one another, and that created 20 teams, 20 programs that think that their way into the game is to outspend the other.
James Franklin, though, did not get what I consider to be one of the good jobs. You can make all the arguments you want on behalf of Virginia Tech, and I'd listen to them, but I don't think it's one of the coveted jobs. We have a tarnished James Franklin moving to Virginia Tech, and I wonder if in any of these openings that are now open, if any of these other teams would have gone to James Franklin if it came with the promise, hey, we'll get you Penn State's recruiting class. The whole thing's coming with James Franklin. It's no longer about the program mattering the way that it should. It's about the coach who's tarnished, who's taking a secondary job. A tarnished coach is taking a demotion to go to another job, and I'm being told that the recruiting class, because I don't know these things, I'm not following recruiting classes or signing days, I'm being told that basically Penn State's class is just going to Virginia Tech. That's just not something that's been so before.
I'm surprised you think that. I'm surprised you're using the word tarnished to describe his reputation. Like, he got fired, but he got fired from a major program that was always in contention every year that he was there.
I'm saying tarnished just because it is not one of the top jobs. Like he didn't have his choice of options. His last act in public was losing to Northwestern, and he had to settle for a job that I'm guessing he thought was beneath him 2 weeks.
Well, we got to go with what's
he got
available.
fired.
He's absolutely tarnished, even though I think he raises the floor of any program that he goes to.
I mean, tarnished means you think less of him.
Yes, I do. I think he's become a cliche. Like, you want a coach that can't win you the big game? Here it is. It's James Franklin. The same way that Clemsoning was a thing before. Like, you're not going to be able to get over the hurdle. But if you're a program like Virginia Tech, come here, raise that floor. We'll worry about losing the big games because we flatly haven't been playing in big games. Come here and make us play in big games, and then we'll talk about how you can't get over the hump. If Mario Cristobal doesn't get into the playoffs and he has another season in which maybe he's hovering around that 10-win frame, I'm sure that act will wear thin over time to Miami fans. But right now, you're thrilled that he turned things around and you're relevant again.
Let's get to the useless sound montage. I am never happy that we go this late into the week, or the middle of Wednesday, before getting to the useless sound montage. It has been refurbished. It is no longer tarnished. It is now strengthened. Let's see who we have in the NFL's useless sound montage this week.
How you guys doing? You gonna ask me?
Thanksgiving, it is Thanksgiving, so that's bigger.
You hope they can, and the beautiful thing is they did.
1 week at a time, 1-0.
It was wet, they were loud.
They all know what good football looks like.
We really wanted to win.
In no way, shape, or form can we play offensive football like that.
I can't wait to lean in.
I'm not going to get into all that stuff. We're just going to keep playing football.
Certainly not going to feel sorry for ourselves. That's this business we're in.
You think you have the right type of guys, but you don't know until you know.
Man, there are a number of guys that did a number of things.
It's easy for those young guys to come to work it every day and just look at how these old heads are going about their business, and you just kind of fall in line.
The rest of the way, you've got competitive, meaningful football games, and I think that that's just an important thing for us to go through as a team.
This is football. You got to be able to handle some tough moments.
It was an NFL game.
I wish I could tell you this is exactly what it is, and this is hard.
Well, I like when we win.
This was a nice microcosm of how the world should be, where it's competition.
Doubling down on our process every week and really trying to just be dedicated to playing our style of ball.
I think it's the same message we've been sending every week, that we're just going to compete our tails off for 60 minutes.
Man, just ebbs and flows of how a game goes.
We're together. This was a great team win, and our fates are intertwined.
When things go well, these can be blessings in disguise if you use them the right way.
It's an awful performance by us, but it's us.
I don't think there's room for complacency in the NFL. There's no room for any team to get comfortable.
When I watch our defense play, man, I see violence.
Shoot, I'm the guy that they have to calm down sometimes, which is a great sign.
The team that made the least number of mistakes was probably going to win this game.
Didn't think that we weren't not ready to go. Didn't think we took this group lightly.
All of those questions are reasonable given what we put out there.
Obviously, if I knew exactly what it was and everything that it was, then we'd have fixed it.
And listen, even though we have this long-range vision of what we're trying to get to, the now is what's important for our guys to continue to understand, man, how do you win games?
The idea is to end the game in the stadium with more points than the opponent.
What I'm supposed to do as I go out there to lead that offense, score one more point or however many more points than the opposing team.
This is a disappointing day, but we're not going to stay in this moment for long.
Solutions to turn this thing around exist in your building?
Certainly.
Gives you the confidence that they do.
Keep watching.
If you're coming to me on this, Matt, I'm telling you, we're going to go after you every game. You know, that's how we roll. We're going to try to tickle your tonsils on every play, every game.
Chris Cody, can you get out of your phone, please, and get me that Aaron Glenn throat clear? I heard a couple of times from Brian Schottenheimer in there, and as I've watched the Cowboys play this season, specifically what they do on fourth down, and they've got a great field goal kicker, but they love to go for it on 4th and 4 and 4th and 5. Brian's daddy would have never done that. Brian's daddy is spinning in his grave, even though Stugotz was somehow happy about hearing of the death of Marty Schottenheimer. Hey, Mike, Marty Schottenheimer died. Marty Schottenheimer loved to punt. His daddy, put it on the poll at LeBatardShow. Did Brian Schottenheimer's daddy, Pappy, love to punt?
It's crazy what's happened to fourth down.
It's
in
nuts.
all
College, too.
Even in high school. I mean, you can kind of understand that because their specialists aren't that good, but everyone's just going for it now. Early in games, their side of the field, Even when you're like, it makes all the sense in the world to add a field goal here to give you some space. And they're like, nah, we just go.
Remember, it was like 15, maybe 20 years ago where ESPN did that special the one time about the high school team. This crazy coach who never punts. They always go for fourth down.
Yes. Let's listen to Stugotz here. A great old memory.
Marty Schottenheimer passed away.
I am consistently moved by how giving this audience is every single time we ask you to give on anything. And this can be a very difficult time of year for people who do not have money. And if you have some extra income where you just like to give kids that a lot of people don't care about a chance at Christmas with some toys, we're teaming up with Branches to do an annual toy drive that doesn't require you anymore to come to where we are and give us the gifts. We have updated this so that you could do it in the modern age, and we want you to do this with us by going to LeBatardAF.com and shopping at Branches' Amazon wish list before December 15th. The things they want and need. And again, you can make a child's Christmas better with dolls, with remote control cars, with Nerf toys, board games, craft kits, building toys, Legos. You could see your options at LeBatardAF.com. But if you have a little bit of income that's disposable and you want to make a kid's Christmas, we're teaming up with Branches in order to do this. And we're going to have an assortment of things around here over the next coming days where we'll do some things. What are you laughing about?
Or there's a nice little 4-star edge rusher in New Jersey that we could use down here. Canes Connection.
Okay, that's not quite the Christmas spirit.
I've noticed that you say Legos.
Yeah, mispronounced it.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
So
Legos.
Legos instead of Legos?
Yeah, the right way.
Okay.
Lego my ego.
How's it spelled? With an E, not an A.
What an hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy. You guys want to take a guess? LeBatardAF.com is where it is that you go. It's a really easy way to help us help some kids that a whole lot of folks don't care about. So thank you for doing that in advance, because every time we do something like this, you do it very strongly. I want to ask you guys, I'm going to quiz the entirety of the room, and we'll stop this when you get all 4 of the names. See if, and you can just shout names at me, and I'll see if I hear them. The top 4 passers, yardage in a game this season, yardage in a professional football, an NFL game this season.
They're all professional.
The top 4
Jared Goff
yardage totals.
Russell Wilson had one.
That's one. Yes, Jared Goff is not one.
Bryce Young?
That is another one. Go ahead.
You guys are not playing this game right.
No, you can go ahead and play
Patrick Mahomes.
That is incorrect.
Dak Prescott.
That is incorrect.
Sam Darnold.
Incorrect.
Josh Allen.
Incorrect.
Tua.
Baker Mayfield.
Incorrect.
Jacoby Brissett.
That is correct.
Justin Fields.
You're missing only the top name on the list. The one.
Daniel Jones.
Jameis Winston.
400. I haven't heard it yet. The 470-yard passer among
Shaw.
the group.
Caleb Williams.
That is incorrect. No, you don't think you'd know if he threw for 470 yards?
Jordan Love.
The top by yardage passer in the NFL this season in a single game, Joe Flacco.
Love that guy.
Oh, yeah, he had that game.
You remember that
That
game?
game.
The game against Pittsburgh.
Still give you a game.
That guy.
Very confusing game. Let's go ahead and play for the people before we go any further. The Boost mobile hotline that has been very inconsistent. The telephone number is 305-486-GOTS. 305-486-4689. How do you feel about this batch?
Fantastic, Dan.
The last batch was super disappointing to me. The last batch was not good enough. I am challenging the listeners and the callers to be better. That last batch was crud.
I couldn't feel better about this batch, Dan.
305-486-GOTS.
It's the Boost Mobile Boldest Take, presented, of course, by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country.
Hi, this is Russell from Wisconsin. I just turned 8, and my bold take is that Dad is a sucker.
They should replace NFL regular season overtime with a tug-of-war match.
Jameis Winston is the Tom Brady of Jeff George's.
Jeremy looks like he picks the safest dialogue options in video games because he doesn't want to hurt their feelings.
Can I unthank Jeremy on Dan's behalf for that James Madison pick?
Jeremy Taché
is the Meg Griffin of the Le Batard Network.
Messi in MLS is like Tom Brady joining the CFL. Stop acting like it matters. It's a joke.
If a slice of pizza could walk, would the head be the crust or the point?
I refuse to take a poop until Dan stops calling offenses constipated.
It was a good one. I genuinely
I disagree.
think if a pizza is walking, the crust is the top. Like the crust is the head.
No, the point.
The point is the feet.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show.
I don't know how it would walk, Roy.
If a piece of pizza is walking, is the crust the head or the feet?
Well, if it's Sicilian.
I assumed that it walked on 4 legs. I didn't assume it had 2 legs and was an upright walker. I thought it just sort of slid the way that Matt Stafford slid.
That's so stupid.
No, yeah, it's two-legged. Pizzas are two-legged.
If you're putting eyes on a pizza, you're putting it on the top, the wide, near the crust. Like the eyes are not going by the pole. Like you guys
talking about Pizzagate.
Put it on the poll as well. What do you imagine is the worst feeling someone felt on Sunday? Was it? I'm sorry, over the course of the weekend and the NFL games. I shouldn't say just Sunday because it was the Monday night game. Is it the panicked holder who ran after Younghoe Koo stubbed his toe on a field goal? Or was it Matthew Stafford hydroplaning 5 yards on his back from the 5-yard line to the goal line at the end of a pick six that he had thrown because he was blocked? And so he had to watch that touchdown. He got up very quickly because he didn't want to be seen in that condition, hydroplaning 5 yards on his back as the guy ran into the end zone with a football he had just thrown. Which do you imagine was the worst feeling someone felt? I know that Stafford is more accomplished than the panicked holder, but as a singular feeling, which one do you think is worse?
I mean, I think it was Juwan Jennings because now everybody knows he's a hoe.
I think it was the kicker.
The holder.
The kicker thing.
Well, it could be also Younghoe Koo. It could just be Younghoe
Holder doesn't
Koo.
want to be part of the story.
But he's throwing the holder under the bus, though. He's not taking the responsibility for kicking the dirt. He's saying, I held up because I saw the ball moving.
Yeah, so what? Kick it.
Kick it.
Kick it.
Right.
The ball was moving.
Okay, but if you don't kick it, you don't get any points.
Right.
That's correct. Well, you could if the holder in that panic situation does complete a pass. Unfortunately, there were no wide receivers. There was nobody running any routes, and so he was just looping over to his right, rolling out with a run pass option that gave him the option of neither running nor passing. Let's play the sound again. Thank you. You're ahead of me. Of Aaron Glenn clearing his throat in the middle of a press conference.
The now is what's important for all guys to continue to understand, man, how do you win games?
That's more violent than the defense that Brian Schottenheimer was describing. That is as violent a throat clearing as you will hear at a press conference.
Uncalled for.
That's the Jets' offense right there. Constipated.
Reminds me of Mike dancing yesterday. That was great.
Mike was so happy when Marty Smith...
It was like 7 different dances all at one time.
Mike was so happy that Marty Smith said that Miami was better than BYU and Utah and Oklahoma and Notre Dame.
They're better than that whole lot of SEC teams. But thankfully, we're getting the CFP. That's what they told us.
What is the whole lot? Give me the entirety of the lot.
Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma for sure. There is no more devastating result for Miami and their CFP outlook than Oklahoma winning that game in which Alabama doubled them up in total yardage. But they did what they had to do. Oklahoma seems firmly entrenched in there. But that whole lot of SEC teams, that 3, spot the ball. Let's go.
How is this going to go with Jessica in about 10 minutes when she comes on and argues? Jeremiah Love is on her podcast this week. It's a Notre Dame podcast. She is as biased as you are when it comes to one of her schools.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You think she's going to come off a little panicked?
I think they are. They are panicked. It's very clear. There's a tone shift right now because they see what's happening. And put me on truth serum, it does kind of suck what's going to happen to them if and when BYU.
That truth serum will show
Texas.
you don't care.
But it sucked what's been happening to me for the last month. It's been unjust. And on Sunday, they're going to right the wrong. the most obvious thing in the world is going to happen.
You could almost make the argument that Notre Dame fans will be more like what's happening to them is actually worse. Where like they're in it, and then at the last second, we're just gonna be like,
wrong.
just kidding. Where they've been setting like Miami's been being set up. Like you won't be that hurt if you don't make it because you've been feeling. But you've been feeling for a month now that you're going to get screwed.
I've been feeling for a month. It's legitimately made me crazy.
But
I think you're right, Chris.
But the idea that at the last second, they're going to be like, you know what? Now Miami's
We change our mind.
It's kind of bull. Tough. I've been living through a bunch of bull over the last
All right,
month.
put it on the poll. Is it kind of bull tough at Le Batard Show?
And by the way, he did just say, I'm going to feel bad for them.
At least we haven't felt the result of him feeling bad on the show.
I just need to stop everybody, though, because it's sort of... We had this conversation in some forms last year, the last few years, about Alabama whenever it is that they're close and people just make the arguments for Alabama being in because they want to see Alabama because they're used to Alabama being in. It's bullshit right up until you consider that the entire point of doing this as a made-for-television spectacle is to get you talking about it for a month beforehand because somebody is going to think something is unjust. It's the whole thing that they're doing. It exists as content for that reason. They televise it every night. I am sure that ESPN gets better numbers whenever Reese just comes out and they contrive, let's do this made-for-television thing. And for me, it's as silly as if we were to interrupt the Country Music Christmas Awards on Monday to complain about, it's unjust that someone's not in here. It's all made-for-television entertainment spectacle. The whole point is to get you to argue about it. It's why the whole thing exists as a television special.
So if we get to Sunday and the things that need to happen for the Canes to jump Notre Dame and they still don't jump Notre Dame, they'll have been giving us this storyline over the last month and we won't get the payoff.
Well, the payoff is already in play. It's to get Mike yelling for a month and then replace it with Notre Dame yelling for the rest of the offseason.
The payoff is the debate, and it's been wildly successful.
That's the thing. It goes back, actually, to Chris Cody's ridiculous argument that Zion Williamson...
Oh, I thought they were going to say do the right thing, ACC.
Zion Williamson, that's a different ridiculous argument. Zion Williamson, who still hasn't played in a playoff game...
Bust.
That him and his shoe being destroyed in a college basketball game was good for Nike.
Probably my best take ever.
Any attention is good attention. If you guys agree with me that the biggest sport in America right now is outrage of any kind. It's just yell about things.
Sure.
That the one place where the leadership has shown and proven to be good is they know how to get attention for a television special for a month without actual games being played on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, unless you got some action going on, which we all miss this time of year. It's the whole point of the contrivance is just to continue to get people to talk about your thing so that it continues to be bigger than all of the other sports. They're getting more attention not playing games than OKC is getting for having one loss and knocking off Golden State last night in an 11 p.m. game that nobody can watch on the East Coast
11 p.m. is so late.
Because it's starting so late. Incidentally, if you did not see that game, OKC was up 1 late in the fourth quarter. Jimmy Butler left. Steph Curry is hurt. The Warriors are 11-11. Jimmy Butler looks a bit disinterested and left last night injured, and OKC does what it does to everybody. They needed to use Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the fourth quarter this time, but that game was close late, and then OKC is doing what champions do. Like this has been, I've told you guys before that two of the greatest things I've ever seen in basketball are the 72-win Bulls and the 73 wins Warriors being down late. Being down late in games was the best thing I've seen in the last 15 years in the sport. Well, I'm going back to Jordan now. When those teams got down late, they do what OKC did to Golden State last night, which is just choke them out the last 5 minutes. Because the thing that's not being talked about OKC-wise is their defense is better than everyone else's by a great deal.
So they're 21-1, Oklahoma City. And like you said, they're Like, they have so much room for error every single game. They can play poor and still win by double figures. They're 21-1. At what point does their like, how many more do they have to win before they lose their second game for us to talk about, are they going to win 80?
That has to get to halfway through the season.
Like 40-1. 40-1?
It's so bad for basketball.
80?
Well, I think you're being ridiculous. I don't think they're going to win 80.
They never lose.
Why is that bad for basketball?
It's bad for basketball when you have that kind of disparity. When you have a 20-1 team and then you have a 2-17 team, and it's, you look at the bottom 5 of the NBA and they're already tanking. Like, the season just started and you have teams that have zero chance, and you have OKC. A dynasty in the making.
Isn't this every sport? Every sport has a best team and 5 at the bottom.
Every team has.
Not to the NBA's degree.
I guess we've argued the NFL doesn't.
I don't know. The NFL seems to have every year 3 or 4 teams that pretend like they're trying at the beginning of the year, but with who their quarterback is or who they've signed in the offseason, that they're not trying.
We'll
they're
get
going
back
for
to
the
this.
next draft.
Who's the OKC in the NFL this year?
No, there is not one in the
Right.
NFL this year, and the Dodgers are that in baseball. But we'll get back to basketball because there's plenty to talk about in basketball in the next hour. But I wanted to bring Jessica in. As I told you, Jeremiah Love is on. I might have called him Jeremy. Jeremiah Love is on her podcast.
No, you would never associate the word Jeremy and Love together.
Echoes is the name of the podcast that Jessica does. And how do you feel? Thank you, Jessica, for being on with us. How do you feel in general about what happened last night? Are you worried that they're gonna pull the rug out from under you? They're already setting it up so that you know that in a couple of weeks Notre Dame's all of a sudden going to be out.
Yeah, we'll see. I really don't know what will happen on Sunday, Dan, but like I've said all season, Notre Dame really didn't have anything to be upset about other than themselves for losing to Texas A&M in week 3. The margin for error is very slim when you only win 10 games, as Vanderbilt or Miami or Utah or any of these other teams would tell you. So I think that they're one of the best teams in the country. I think that the stats would support that. I think they could make a legitimate title run, but that's what happens when you lose 2 games. You kind of are up to a little bit of luck. It would have been helpful for a bunch of teams if LSU could have pulled up the upset last weekend, or Auburn, or even UCF. Jeremy, way to go. But that didn't happen. So now you have to just kind of wait and see what the committee decides. And as we've seen, I think in years past, they tend to get it right at the end of the day, but the way that they talk about getting there leaves you with very little confidence in the process. So while they may end up getting it right, whatever your definition of right is, it doesn't help when they talk about how their methodology is working.
Well, what do you think is going to happen, and how scared are you of the nightmare scenario for you?
Assuming BYU loses.
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, if BYU loses to Texas Tech right now, they're a double-digit underdog. I think that it's possible Miami could jump ahead of Notre Dame. I'm not exactly sure why the committee would wait until the end of the season to do that when they could have done that last night. But I also think if you have a scenario where Alabama loses to Georgia, they could fall behind Notre Dame again. It sounded like it was a really close call between Notre Dame and Alabama at the 9 and 10 spots last night. And although we've seen in the past they don't kick teams out of the playoff for losing their conference championship games, they have dropped spots for losing conference championship games. So I don't think that there's stasis among the teams playing in the conference championship games. It will depend. If, let's say, Indiana gets blown out by Ohio State or vice versa, I don't think that those are going to be 1-2 next week. And I could be wrong, but I think that there's obviously a lot of scenarios at play.
Can you update us on any information you've seen around the Penn State thing that we have been talking about here before you came on with us? Because I'm having trouble sort of getting around the new rules that make James Franklin more important than the program brand that is Penn State when it comes to recruiting.
I would say it's one thing for a bunch of the heavy hitter candidates like your Lincoln Rileys or Marcus Freemans or Mike Elkos to not be interested in the job, because that all makes sense. Like Lincoln Riley's got the number 1 recruiting class coming next year. Marcus Freeman's got the number 3 recruiting class signing today. Mike Elko, obviously pretty happy where he's at Texas A&M. But then once you see like James Madison's coach or even like Brian Hartline looking elsewhere, like especially Bob Chesney, because he's a Pennsylvania guy and has DMV ties, that would be really helpful in recruiting at Penn State. That's where I'm like, it doesn't really seem like they had a plan other than they thought they could convince another like big time Power 4 name to come to Penn State. And it just seems like with the way that a lot of whether it's the 12-team playoff or NIL or sort of like the spreading out of talent and just more attractive jobs than ever for certain people, it just doesn't seem like you would want to give that up for the opportunity to maybe be like the second or third best team in the Big Ten at Penn State.
I actually happen to know.
Oh my God, he knows. He happens to know. Come everyone, come and listen. Happens to know. He happens to know. Well informed.
Chesney did finish second in the race to be Penn State's head coach. He finished behind Satake. Satake was done, delivered. They had their guy. And then the CEO of Crumble came along and stole it.
But that's a huge miscalculation. And also, I think Satake fits the profile, like I said, of like coaches where it would take a lot, clearly, to drag him away from BYU. I mean, that's obviously a school that means a lot to him. He's been very successful there. There's a lot of money there that they can tap into, and they appealed to all of his sensibilities and convincing him to stay, Mike. I think that that's a huge miscalculation on Penn State's part. And then, of course, you end up pissing off your number 2 candidate because you know, now it's too late. He's moved on. I think UCLA is also a fine place to end up in the Power 4. I think he's going to have a lot of work to do. But now if you look at recruiting rankings for Penn State right now, as it stands, it doesn't. That's not going to get anyone to come to your school either. Like you've got to. I mean, and now it's like at the point where, you know, obviously there's certain coaches where you could hire them and, okay, they're going to bring a bunch of transfers with them from schools, and those are going to be great players. And now it seems like a lot of those candidates are kind of locked in next year at where they want to be. So it's just becoming a worse situation, I think, by the day. And also, I think Penn State's been like, and Mike, you could probably attest to this too. They're like, we're going to run a quiet, very smooth. No one's going to know what we're up to. We're going to keep this under wraps. And it's like, well, what did that get you? Because now it's like you still don't have a coach. Like LSU, say what you will about their governor embarrassing them and like publicly lusting after Lane Kiffin. They got the coach they wanted. Doesn't matter. They got their guy. Shit ton of money.
Yeah.
He's going to sign a huge recruiting class. They're probably going to be preseason top 10.
LSU was a circus and Penn State was the model, and yet LSU gets their guy and Penn State gets left at the altar, and now they're looking at Manny Diaz.
Yeah, I mean, potential ACC champion Manny Diaz, and it seems like Penn State fans like Manny Diaz. I don't know if he has the upside of some of the other coaches that they were looking for, but he obviously was a popular person at Penn State, from what I can tell. I don't know.
I want to play.
Maybe not the worst.
I want to play for you some Schefter sound on Kevin Clark's podcast. You've probably heard this. What are your thoughts on this sound from Adam Schefter?
I don't think that there is a Ben Johnson this year at the NFL level. The only guy I could think of that would be in this category, and I don't know that he would be interested, would be Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. That's a guy that, to me, if I owned an NFL team, I'd want him on the phone right now. That's a guy that I would want to be hiring right now. That's a guy that I would be investing in right now.
That happened fast for Marcus Freeman, man.
He would look good if he ripped his shirt off.
That was
Ben
like
Johnson
the whole Bears
did.
strategy last year. 1 and 2 candidates. Look good with your shirt off.
Does Ben Johnson look good with his shirt off?
Oh, yeah.
Sneaky decent.
Good, better, best.
The Mississippi State of shirts off.
Well, I would be fine with playing that video
does that
for
mean?
Jessica and having her decide. But what did you think of the sound?
I agree. I think Marcus Freeman's a great coach. I think, you would be stupid not to kick the tires on trying to hire him if you're an NFL team. I don't know his personal interest level, but if he's interested in it, then yeah, he's a great head coach.
Let's play this video then for Jessica and see if she is as impressed by Ben Johnson shirtless as we were.
Sneaky decent.
Wow, stealing my lines.
So that's why Greg was doing. Okay, now this is all coming together. A lot of things are making sense to me right now. Dan, I would also add, I believe Marcus Freeman is on the Today Show today and was asked if he was going to stay at Notre Dame, and he said yes.
He looked a little broken.
Why?
Because he knows what's happening on Sunday.
Okay, I think he just looks fine, honestly. But sure, Mike. I think that the college football playoff discourse is like gotten to a kind of a toxic point when your podcast is tweeting that Jim Phillips should resign as the ACC commissioner because he's a Chicago Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no,
yeah,
that's not the only reason.
Who's behind that account?
I mean,
there's several. I could. How much time do you have?
That.
I could relay a bunch.
What are you excited about this conference championship weekend coming up?
Man, all of it. Honestly, starting with Friday night with Mountain West, Boise State, UNLV rematch. Saturday, obviously the Big 12 championship, I think, is the one that the most people will have their eyes on because it has the most clear-cut stakes attached to it. Whereas I think the Big 10 championship is two really, really good teams playing against each other that we all know we're going to see play again in the postseason. And the SEC championship, I'm curious if Georgia can pull it off. Kalen DeBoer has been really good against Kirby Smart in his short time at Alabama, but Alabama, I think, probably feels safe in the playoff, but would really like the security of an SEC championship. And then there's also the question of, like, would they move up into a bye position if they beat Georgia? So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of great games this weekend. Even like Dan Maction is going to be great. It's not going to get the eyeballs, but man, I will be rooting for Miami of Ohio all morning on Saturday.
Let's go ahead and examine what Jessica was confused about. I'm not sure. Did we start doing this daily after shows after Jessica left? Because I felt like she was involved in all of these when we would do it after shows daily. I want you guys to notice here how excited Mike Ryan isn't and how much Mike Ryan isn't participating, as has been the case since we started this daily tradition months ago.
I was legitimately worried for my dad during this.
Profound indifference
if you
from
see
Mike
that
Ryan.
Mike Ryan.
Look at a lingering Roy, like the smell left in a bathroom after someone's left it, after Andy Reid has left it.
It was made very clear that Greg wasn't taking his shirt off, so I was like, if he's going to half-ass it.
Although he yelled so hard, you can see me in there midway through
Settle
give
down.
him like a, hey, don't kill yourself doing this.
You were choking me, Dan.
You look very excited. Look at Roy in the background there, just profoundly indifferent,
That's right, yeah.
surrounded by joy.
Roy had done Tesh all day, so he was broken.
Sitting on the fringes of our fun. Jessica is always, she's got good taste when it comes to televised and movie entertainment. So what are you watching, or what are you recommending these days for our listeners?
Dan, what do you know about the new Knives Out movie?
Wait, is there a third one? There's now a third one? Or
There
is it
is
the
a
second?
third-
Okay,
the
so
third
you
one.
guys were recommending the second one, and I haven't gotten to that. I like the first one.
Don't even bother with the second one. We're well past. There's too many COVID references. It's not going to age well. I haven't rewatched it since it came out, but just don't worry about it.
So there's a third one now, and you're recommending it.
The third one is currently in theaters. They're doing a limited theatrical release, and then it'll be on Netflix next week. And I went to the theater and saw it yesterday, and it was so good. It is probably my favorite of the three. If you like whodunits, Dano, I don't know. This one might be one of the better whodunits I've seen in a while.
Can I ask you seriously? Like, I like going to the movie theater also, but why would you go to the movies when it's coming out at your home next week?
because it just looks so much better on a movie screen, and also I just had 2.5 hours to kill, so why not?
I like going to the movies.
I do too, but my preference is always watching my couch.
Well, you've helped kill the movie theater.
Sounds like you don't like movies that much.
I didn't do
Yeah,
anything.
sounds like you
really.
don't. I think Zaz, it totally depends. If it's a movie that I'm not that excited to see, don't care that much about, like, yeah, I'll just watch it at home. I'll wait for it to come out on demand. But if it's a movie that I think I'm really gonna like, it's so much better to watch it at the theater than watching it on my TV in my little small apartment.
And it's your favorite of the three, right? That first Knives Out was very good.
I would say it's not as funny as the first one. There's not as many laughs, but it's overall, like, the writing is better. It has like more deeper themes to it. It's not just like a quirky, funny, whodunit. It's like, oh, there's actually some depth to this, which I thought was nice. Have you guys seen Poker Face on Peacock? I think it recently got canceled. Yeah, so Ryan Johnson is the mastermind behind that, that show is kind of like a modern spin on like a Columbo type show, Dan, where who did the crime before the detective shows up, and the detective in that show is Natasha Lyonne. This is obviously not like that. I was trying to figure out what was going on the whole time, and I couldn't figure it out. It was a very good mystery, but just the general genre is one that I love, and I think that this really knocks it out of the park.
Thank you for including me with that Columbo reference. One of the most adorable thing my parents do is they continue on Saturday nights to text me, "Are you watching Columbo right now?" Because they're just watching a telethon.
It's Columbo season.
It's Saturday
Anytime
night.
it gets cold out.
They watch like 3 straight hours or 4 straight hours of Columbo, and they're confused by streaming, so they still think that it's on Saturday nights, and it's just a marathon of 1970s detective television.
I've never shared this story, but the lead in Poker Face is Natasha Lyonne, and there was rumors that they may recast this. When I was producing for the show in like the waxy days, Dan, we used to have let's track this person down. So there was an FBI agent that called me like 15 years ago, who was a fan of our show, and asked me to help track down Natasha Lyonne. Yeah, because any information that I might have, because he was looking to speak with
Revelation.
me. Yeah, that was something that happened. That was very strange. I feel like the FBI should have better resources than I had at Waxy.
Today's FBI does not. I can assure you of that. So HBO Max has a ton of good stuff. I remain stunned, and I don't know how he did it, how Adam McKay got the chair company to exist on HBO. It's one of the stranger things you will ever watch. Is there anything HBO Max related that you're either recommending or you think that is worth talking about?
By the way, another semi-whodunit. I mean, it's a mystery thriller, The Chair Company, so right up my alley. Dan, I don't know if you've seen the controversy about the Mad Men remastering in 4K that's been up on HBO the last few days, but apparently Mad Men, one of the greatest television shows of all time, highly recommend if you've never watched it now. They're all on HBO, but in remastering the Mad Men original film, I guess, whatever, film copy of it, they somehow took out some of the visual effects. And so there are scenes where you can see extras in the background. And in particular, there's one scene where Roger Sterling is throwing up. And you can see that guy in the back on the right is holding the puke cannon that's going up along John Slattery's back and making it look like he's puking.
Oh my God.
And then there's a guy behind him with his hand on his back, making sure he stays steady. So this is a pretty embarrassing mistake. I'm sure they're going to clean it up and fix it and figure out how all of that actually happened. But it's just a reminder of how many important people there are on the set of an important show. Buchanan guy's having his moment right now. I hope someone reaches out to him and gets his comment on this. But just as important to the shot as Don Draper and Pete Campbell watching Slattery puke up martinis and oysters.
That is pretty terrible, though. It's not as terrible as a Starbucks cup appearing in the 8th year of Game of Thrones.
Right. Well, this did not, to be clear, this was not in the original airing of Mad Men. They took the people out. This is in the digital remastery where they have made there's a few television accounts that are posting some of the differences and some of the things that they accidentally took out or didn't leave in from the original. So yeah, this was not AMC's fault.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Have you failed at life if you're being referred to as Puke Cannon Guy? Jessica, thank you for being on with us. Her and Mike Golick Jr. have Jeremiah Love, Heisman candidate, on their weekly Notre Dame podcast, The
hold
Echoes,
on, wait.
this week.
Breaking news. I heard Puke Cannon Guy is now the leading candidate for the Penn State job. How about that?
Let me see here. I got.
Zazzy,
I
you know
happen
about
to
that?
I love the
Where'd you hear that?
the evolution of our show, in which giving Dan a button bar is just him saying, "Let's see here."
Yeah.
Okay,
and then
bye.
a delayed sound.
Yeah,
Thank
glasses.
you. Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate your time. Appreciate it. Thank you. I wanted to get to some of the basketball stuff from last night. I don't know if you are seeing the quotes from LeBron James when he's being asked about how to manage his left foot injury.
Remember when I owned Nick Wright earlier today
that
about LeBron?
kept him out of Sunday's game? But the quote from LeBron is, "It's called old. You just wake up with that you didn't have the night before." End quote.
Great quote.
It's also true.
Most relatable
It's
thing
the
ever.
most human thing he's ever said. The guy's an immortal. He's a superhuman, but
My right elbow this morning. Just
It's hilarious. Like, well, I slept wrong, so I guess I'm a bad shoulder guy now for the rest of my life.
The quote is, "It's called old.
Oh, so likable.
You just wake up that you didn't have the night before." I believe in the history of our show, there has not been a funnier injury than Howard Bryant waking up one morning and tearing both his hamstrings getting out of bed.
Still on to that story.
How can you get tennis elbow if you don't play tennis?
Last night, though, the late game. How do we feel about a game starting at 11 p.m., the defending champions against Golden State? That's a game people want to watch. You put it at 11 p.m. Eastern, it's not a lot of people are going to see it. But also, getting back to the point I was making earlier in the show, Peacock having Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, and Carmelo Anthony doing the pregame while Bob Costas reads an essay that calls New York-Boston one of the great rivalries when it's not. Like, that's not one of the great rivalries. It's just not.
In baseball, it is.
But it's not. That's not what they were televising last night. It's not best.
Yeah, but it's Costas.
This is what MLS is missing.
But Boston, New York is not a great rivalry in basketball.
Yeah, but in Costas's mind, he's thinking about baseball. He's always thinking about baseball, Dan, as he should.
Those broadcasts, though, on Peacock, they're really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the idea that I'm watching just excellent regular season telecasts where there's a lot of money, it really is a golden age in sports. A weird time to have Inter Miami behind a paywall.
Folks, listen up. One touchdown can change everything. The crowd, the momentum, the entire game. It never gets old. Feel that same rush with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code Dan. That's code Dan. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
We learn all sorts of stuff we did not know on South Beach Sessions, and this week Chuck Todd is on the show, and I did not realize that he's somebody who just loves to gamble. He is a gambler, a big gambler. He also fancies himself a cook and has taken the challenge of will cook against Greg Cody if Greg Cody is willing to unretire, because he's been complaining that all our cooking competitions are fixed,
right,
and that he's never won one, even though he is a very good cook and he cares about it. And I will say it honestly, he's great at cooking, but he's lost all the cooking competitions around here. And
Chuck Todd, that's fun.
Roy didn't want a rematch, but Chuck Todd says he makes a good turkey. Let's play one clip. You guys didn't know he was a gambler, though, right? Like,
no.
But he's got a rule when it comes to gambling that I did not know.
I will say this: I never gamble on Miami games because I don't want to be doubly disappointed.
Really? Okay.
I never gamble on Hurricane games, and I refuse to do it. We'll never do it, no matter how tempting, no matter how confident I am and how poorly our coach will cover spreads or anything like that. But I won't gamble on Miami. I wish I had I just
That's
love
the
it.
only one, though? That's your only sacred cow? The University of Miami
Only
is the
sacred cow.
The only one.
Yeah, the only sacred cow.
Lest you think it's a bit with Mike Ryan, he just whispered in my ear annoyingly. I couldn't even hear what was happening that Chuck Todd was saying because he's like, Miami 7-5 against the spread, Notre Dame 6-6.
And also, I know why Dan likes Texas Tech so much because they're 11-1 against the spread.
Crush
That's his team. That's his team.
Crush everybody.
I love my moneymakers too.
Can't wait for BYU to beat them.
I think the only one is when they were playing with their backup quarterback. I think that's the only time. I mean, they've been beating everybody else up.
What if BYU wins, Alabama loses, and then Miami gets in over Alabama?
I don't think that's happening.
If Alabama loses a close game, they're still going to get in. I heard Colin Cowherd say yesterday
What'd he
that
say?
Alabama's victory at Athens is worth 3 victories. And I think we should just make it up
gotta
like
be
that
2 at
because we're
least.
already making it up.
We'd all
like
agree
that.
on 2.
Notre Dame fans have reason to be upset. There was nothing more confounding than hearing Hunter Yurachek say, like, that win at 5-7 Auburn, that was really impressive how they went for it on 4th down over there. Last year, Miami, it was held against them, and I agree that they were in these close games against lesser competition. Alabama hasn't played good football for a month. They're just getting it over the line, needing trick plays and ballsy decisions.
A lot of 4th downs. They've been saved by 2 4th down
And
plays in
anytime
games
Coleman
this
touched
year.
a football in that game, it was a disaster. So did we. I don't understand. Like, what? Like, because they barely beat 5-7 Auburn, now we're moving them up?
Jeremy, the floor is yours. Mike, don't interrupt him. You've been frustrated for about 10 straight days because you can't get a word in around Mike's elbows and teeth and general obnoxiousness.
Well, the "so did we" soundbite says everything I need to. Like, it's just that, and that as well. That's how I feel listening to all of this because the same arguments that get made on behalf of Miami don't apply to anybody else, and it's understandable. I have done the same thing, except, of course, when I've argued, it's been because my team's won all of their games and not dropped 2 of them. It is for BYU, like, BYU is the one that's really getting to me because the whole argument for everyone over the last decade when it comes to the college football playoff is like, well, you're not part of the Power 5, so you don't matter. And now you have a team that worked their way to become a part of that conference that only has 1 loss and earned their way to their conference championship and is being told, hey, if you lose to the team that we already saw you lose to, we know who you are. You're not as good as that team that is one of the top 4 teams in the country. If you lose to them again, well, that's it. You're gone for a team that didn't make it to their conference championship, because 7-5 Duke could. And Notre Dame doesn't play in a conference. Like, there's all of these examples. It's upsetting. It's the process. Everyone's upset with the process, whether you end up benefiting from it or you're the team left out. So at this point, I'm just exhausted by it.
Mike, everyone is, the audience as well. Mike, do you have a rebuttal?
I wasn't listening.
Yep.
One of the things I do believe I can get the audience attention with, even though it is something that really does mess with me to see what's become of sports journalism content, because today Pablo Torre finds out again, has another story. It's Epstein file related, though it's not the Epstein news.
I saw clips of that last night. Whoa.
Yeah, Pablo does it again today with something that came out at 5 o'clock yesterday, and I urge you to watch it and listen to it because it is very thorough. But as I see Pablo doing this incredible journalism, I myself feel guilty that I'm more interested in Giannis all of a sudden blocking the Milwaukee Bucks on social media, which is now telegraphing, this is the move now. When you do this on social media, you are passive-aggressively telling everyone, I am done with my team. He is now telling his 16 million followers that he has unfollowed the Bucks. The Bucks are pretty bad this year. He's been good. They're still bad. My guess is that he wants to be playing somewhere else and that time has run out for the Milwaukee Bucks. That Miles Turner acquisition isn't going to keep him here any more than that Shabazz Napier draft pick is keeping LeBron James in Miami in 2014.
It's starting, Dan. Coming up mid-December is when everyone becomes available to be traded, all right? This is not a coincidence, this timing. It's all starting. Last night, I already worked the trade machine. I don't know if anyone else has done that. I already worked the trade machine yesterday for how the Heat, this young, overachieving team with a bunch of assets and positioning themselves to be a major player. If a whale becomes available, it looks like it's all starting.
He's going to become available. That part's obvious, is it not? Milwaukee's not good enough, and he already was tapping his wrist on his wristwatch, telling Milwaukee.
That means it's time. Run out of time.
I mean, they have run out of time. They're not any good. Milwaukee's not.
They're 9-13.
Milwaukee is not a player and a player for the championship, and that fall has been pretty precipitous since they won the championship. I thought in those finals Giannis's career was over. I thought he landed on the court and he destroyed his knee and he would never play again.
Instead, he had one of the all-time greatest finals
That is correct. He won the championship. But since then, it's been nothing but decline, and he's still great. Indisputably great, and anybody would want him. It's been a failure that they have not put around him what it is that he needs to get better.
So what does the trade machine show you?
Well, it's not what the trade machine shows me. It's what I decide to put in the trade machine.
And?
The trade machine is only a mechanism, Greg. Have you ever used the trade machine?
I have, just for laughs.
It's only
I don't believe you.
No, I have.
How does it work?
Yeah.
Yo,
you put in a couple of names and it spits out whether the salaries work and, all that kind of bull.
Don't believe it. Barely know how to use the internet. Yeah.
But what you're doing is you're setting up Heat fans to be disappointed again because their track record on getting whales is not great lately.
So now we don't even go after them, is what you're saying.
No.
We should give up on even wanting them.
No, what I'm saying is who can the Heat trade?
Oh, glad you asked.
To get Giannis.
Glad you asked. We'll give you Jovic. That's number one. All right.
Oh, come on.
What?
You got to do better.
Just
than
a
that.
starting
Obviously,
point.
Khalil Ware's
Come on.
obviously in the
This
pack.
We'll give you Khalil Ware.
Okay.
Yep. You got to give Ware. All right. Got to give something to get something. All right. Jovic, Ware, Hero. He's from Milwaukee.
And Hero?
He's from Milwaukee.
Yes.
Don't like him.
Yes.
Got to give something to get something. You got to give Wiggins because you got to make the salaries work.
If I'm giving Hero, I'm not giving Jaime. Not doing it.
I'm not giving Jaime either. It's Hero, Wiggins.
You pick one, Jaime or Hero?
Ware. Who was the first one I said? Jovic, and all the draft picks you want.
For what it's worth, if you included all of that, you would need to take some other salary back as well. Probably Kyle Kuzma.
We'd be giving them too much.
That's how much Wiggins makes.
Well, it's actually a really good salary considering the type of season he's having. You could include Simone Fontecchio instead of Wiggins, and that gets it done.
Okay.
There are plenty of teams that will be interested in this. I would assume the New York Knicks among them because the Knicks are not good enough. Like even
who are they giving up?
With Karl Anthony Towns.
They would
have
yeah,
to be
I'd assume that off
The
the
Hawks
Towns.
would be really an interesting place as well because Jalen Daniels seems to be the guy that or Jalen Johnson rather, the guy that they want to.
What did they
build
also
around
trade
from
Young in
here.
that spot?
Well, they would. They would trade Trae Young. They'd probably trade Kristaps Porzingis, a couple of picks. But if you're Milwaukee and you're looking to build around something, it depends on how you value a guy like Trae Young or whatever his salary number is, versus a guy like Tyler Hero.
Yeah, but
his
he's not going to want to go to Atlanta. New York is going to be interesting to him. Giannis isn't going to want to go to Atlanta.
That's the point, right? Because I don't think this is going to be an ugly breakup. So because of what he has done for the franchise, I think his preference is going to play a major role.
Charlie Berens is going to join us, the comedian and / journalist is going to join us. He's got a tour that's rolling through South Florida. He will be here in a few minutes, but I wanted to get Greg Cody's thoughts on an assortment of things, including Mississippi's players saying that Kiffin lied to them, that Lane Kiffin lied to them. I've heard a number of people say over the course of the last few days to justify their outrage that they totally understand why Lane Kiffin would go. They just don't like how he did it. And I'm just curious if there is an actual right way to do that to Mississippi. This may be the worst way, but is there a right way to do that when Mississippi is having its best season ever, is in the playoffs? Is there a right way to leave?
I don't think there is with this timing, but he picked the wrong way by apparently lying about whether or not Ole Miss players wanted him to stay and coach, and now he's leaving a trail of players calling him a liar. We never discussed that. That never came up in our locker room. And now the athletic director basically bouncing him out the door and saying, "Hey, here's the door. Get out of here. We don't want you to coach." that's more explicable right now because apparently that's the truth based on everything that's come out. A bad look for Lane Kiffin. Not the leaving, but the leaving a trail of people going, what? We never wanted him.
Is there someone who cares less about the look, though?
He turned his back on us. We don't want him coaching our team in the playoffs.
Are you saying that you have a problem because he never actually told the players that he wanted to coach them? I don't know how that would come up in a meeting. He wasn't even allowed to.
He said that in the text when he left.
He did want to coach them. He did want to coach in the CFP. He wasn't allowed to.
But they didn't. The players didn't want him.
But I think when did Lane say these guys want me to coach? I think is what we're asking.
He said that in his statement.
What are the players saying that he lied about? Because I really do believe, as I say this, like I've really heard so many people do this. So many people. I don't have a problem with him leaving because anybody can understand going to take a better job. I have a problem with the way that he did it. And I just really don't think that there's a way for him to do it that would have been correct with this as the timing.
I think for Lane, this wasn't that bad, given his history. And also, like, there is a worse way to do it. It's how Nick Saban did it, which is say that you're not leaving. And everybody knew this was always the case with Lane Kiffin. When they hired him, they kind of knew that this day might come. They're just really upset about the timing of it because they're having what might be their greatest season ever as a program.
So there's at least two instances here where current players are saying Lane lied to them. This player is named Suntarine Perkins, and he responded to Lane Kiffin's tweet with his statement, where he's talking about, I'm leaving, but I wanted to coach the team, and, the athletic director wouldn't allow me. And he responded to that with, that was not the message you said in the meeting room. Everybody that was in there can vouch on this. And another player, Bryson Sanders, an offensive lineman, he tweeted out to that statement as well, quote, despite the team asking me to keep coaching, end quote. And he responds with, I think everyone that was in that room would disagree.
Right. So it's a bad look for Kiffin from every angle. And the other thing about upward mobility, when he's at an FAU, everybody understands he's taken a step up. He wants out of there, and they justify it. But Ole Miss, coming off the season they just had, that's pretty much that's pretty close to the top. Like, he could have made a career decision saying, I'm where I want to be right now. Look what we've just done. And he didn't. He's still upwardly mobile, still chasing.
And isn't that what we're all doing at work?
And I can see why Ole Miss players are upset.
Yeah, but they're going to feel betrayed just by his leaving. There's no way for them not to be upset. Like him leaving, if we're just talking about James Franklin leaves and takes all his recruits with him, if we're just talking about the coach now matters more than the program, of course they're going to feel betrayed. Coach, I thought we were in this together. I thought we were all doing this. I thought the promise was, Coach, if we tried our hardest, you'd help us win the championship. You'd help us win games till the very end. They're all going to feel betrayed. There's no – how does he go about making them not feel betrayed while betraying them?
By not making his decision until after the playoffs.
No, you can't do that. You can't, because the two teams – you've got the chance with LSU and Florida moving off of the job you want. They can move off of you to another candidate.
But that's where you make a back channel arrangement.
A whisper deal?
I'm sure there are plenty of back channel whispering that was going on here. National Signing Day is today. The decision, your next job and how successful you're going to be in that upward mobility starts today. It's not in a month.
I don't think the players there are accusing him, they are upset that he left and the timing of it. They're accusing him of lying about what took place in their final meeting.
I mean, there was mixed messaging even in those two. I couldn't really follow. Lane wanted to stay. This is a fact. You want to get into his intentions and not trust him? Lane wanted to stay. Now, was it for the kids? Was it for a CFP opportunity? Was it for the money? I don't know that. I'm sure all three of those things happened. But I also understand Ole Miss saying, get the hell out of here.
Once he leaves, it feels like a lie. And all of it, just him leaving is the lie. Charlie Behrens is here. He's a comedian, best-selling author, and Emmy-winning journalist. He's bringing his Midwest Nice tour to South Florida this weekend. He is currently on the Lost and Found tour. So before I get to everything with him, let's bring him in as, a Milwaukee guy. Giannis unfollowing the Bucks on Instagram. Are you prepared? Welcome to the show, Charlie. It's nice to see you. Are you prepared for Giannis leaving you? And will Milwaukee be Midwest nice about this?
Oh, that was just an accident, honestly. Someone just accidentally went to all those channels and deleted that, I'm pretty sure. He's going to be there for a while. Yeah, I'm confident in that. So you guys mark my words right here.
All right, so you're in full-fledged denial right now? You're still thinking, okay, good.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I've just been stress eating casseroles ever since, but, that's okay. That's how we handle things.
How is the tour going? Are you enjoying yourself? Do you enjoy the grind and travel of the tour?
Yeah, I've been having fun with it. I like going to different places. I like getting to the airport early and just watching people run. That's my favorite thing. It's like the most therapeutic thing for me, just watching people run through the airport. And there's some fast people out there. That's what you guys got to remember. This other time I saw this guy practicing his flute in this little cove while people were running past him. I wanted to take a video of it, but I didn't want to disturb the moment. It was beautiful.
It's a good point he brings up. Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Do you enjoy watching people run through the airport in a total
When you're
panic?
there on time and you just know that they're not, that's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
Superiority
you got to be there on time. Otherwise, it's chaotic. But if you're there on time, it's like sitting at the top of a skyscraper and watching rush hour traffic. There's something peaceful about it. But if you're late, it's a whole different story, and you just resent everybody looking at you as you're racing to get to your airport.
When is the last time you ran through? Have you sprinted through the airport with a bag recently?
2 days ago. Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. I resented everybody looking at me. But when I'm not doing it, I'm just enjoying the moment. And that's why you should get to the airport early, guys.
Thank you. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is that why you should get to the airport early, guys? I had not realized until reading about you that you were one of 12 children. That sounds like total chaos.
Oh, yeah. Yep. No, I grew up mass-produced, and it was a lot of fun, to be honest with you. I mean, the nice thing about when you got that many kids is, like, you always have someone on your side. You always have allies and enemies. And it changes by the day, but you always have someone to go into a fight with you.
What number were you?
Second oldest. So 2 of 12, 1 of 6.
That's a good spot. That's a good spot. You don't want to be like fourth.
You don't want to be fourth because then you got middle child syndrome. You don't want to be first because that's the guy who gets all the heat. Second, you can kind of slip right under the. They don't even know you're alive, to be honest with you. And my brother, he got left at his own baptism. He's number 3. So it's not at that point. But
okay, so you're second oldest. So like you were there for most of your siblings arriving. Did it ever get to a point where your parents told you, hey, pregnant again? You're like, no, enough of this.
Oh, yeah. No, we would do it prayer time every night. We would say, this is how my mom would announce it. She'd go, God bless Andy, Charlie, Billy, Betsy, Maggie, Addie, Mary Kate, John, And when my mom said "and," me and my siblings were just looking at each other like, how are they still doing it? Where are they finding the time? Is this why we're in CCD? It got to a point, but it's all fun now because now the kids are having kids, and Christmas is super fun because you got all these kids around, and they'll distract you from your problems real quick, because they'll just run into a room and just headbutt you right in the pecker, and then you can't think about your own issues,
How does this end up working? Explain to us what is the unknown chaos involved with growing up in a house. You say it was fun with 12 kids.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, there's, first of all, you got your own, we had 2 basketball teams at any given time. You know what I mean? With subs. We had a full offensive part of a football. I mean, we could play any sport, and my dad had his own construction crew, so we always had work to do. We had sports to play. We had bikes to ride. I mean, and sometimes, someone would bring a bike inside, try to go down the stairs. And then you have entertainment. So it's like an all-in-one thing.
But your family must never have been invited to other families' houses because, we're inviting the Barons, they got 12 kids.
Yeah, that's a good call because as soon as we get there, we create a whole other party. I mean, you got to think to a different financial level of food that you got to provide. So, we were just non-eaters is kind of how that went. It's like you don't need to feed them; they've been fed. It's like when you bring your cattle over to the vet's farm, and you're like, "Don't worry, they just got fed." That's a terrible analogy, but it just kind of came out. So it doesn't even make sense. But I got my friends as a farmer. He's like, "The hell was that cattle analogy?" I don't know. I was riffing, but anyways, we've been fed, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Where do you go in America where you feel most like you fit in and least like you fit in as you tour? And have you done much in South Florida?
So, yeah, I mean, speaking of where you least fit in, you guys, Miami Beach, holy smokes, that is way different than South Beach of Lake Michigan. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, you guys do it fun down there. It's great, but yeah, it's a different world. Although people are very nice, actually, I've noticed that. So I do like that about that area of the country you're in. But I think most fit. What's that?
He said kick, save, and a beauty. That
Also,
you said the people were nice.
Which is, all of us looked a little confused. I was actually upset.
We're
Who
not
was nice to him?
Right before you come down here, you just sort of, you were riffing again, and I thought you were going to make another cattle reference.
I hate that people were nice to you.
There was someone that was nice to me, but now that you guys are acting like that, I'm starting to think that maybe they weren't nice. They told me I had nice driving, and so maybe they said like nice driving, and I didn't hear. I don't know if I can say what I
at the end.
Okay, you can say. Yeah, nice driving, ass. I wasn't sure. I didn't know the rules. I didn't know if this was on the air. You can say ass, but once you add the whole, it's a whole different story.
It is,
so,
yeah.
Anyways, yeah, and there is a lot more, plastic surgery down in that neck of the woods, and we don't have much of that up in Wisconsin because, when you live somewhere beautiful, you're like, I want to live forever. Here we don't get plastic surgery because it's like, honestly, I want to be dead before February. But it's a different kind of thing, But
you don't fit in down here, correct? You don't fit in. Is the answer to my question, or
it didn't sound like a question? It just sounded like a statement. So I'm now hip to how you guys speak, and I've recanted my earlier phrase. So I don't even know if that word works, but we'll roll with it.
His new special, Neighborly, is out now. What are you proud of, or what do you like? How would you sell that to our audience as something they need to be watching?
Well, it's a lot better than my driving. It is. And Neighborly, it's all about, we talk about, being from a big family. I go gambling with my grandma. We got stories about that. And, it's about life through a Midwest guy's perspective. So I think anyone can relate to it. There is a little casserole talk in there. I know that'll sell them hard down in the neck of the woods. But I think you enjoy it. We riff on the whole technology situation with so if you're in have some thoughts on the whole AI part of the world, we got a little bit on that. So there's a little bit of some for everyone in there.
Well, go ahead and tell us about gambling with your grandmother.
Oh, it's fantastic, you guys. I mean, if you've ever been, first of all, I take my grandma and her gals down to the casino, and the thing about gambling with those, each one of them has an entire pharmacy in their purse. All right, so I mean, you're ready to have some fun, and you got to be careful driving because if you get pulled over, you got more drugs in that RAV4 than a Motley Crue tour bus. But when you get them there safely, and then you get to collect, a little pill tax. And I don't know if you guys have popped a Thursday, but if you pop grandma's Thursday, you're going to get thin blood and minor hallucinations. It's great. Just be careful. Okay. Don't go popping grandpa's Friday because then you might be walking around the casino with a full deck. And that's not preferred. But anyways, it's fun. But gambling with your grandma, I mean, it's hard to find them. If you tried finding a senior citizen in a casino, good luck. I mean, they hide in the lights. And they only find you if they want to be found. So, no, but we go on a pretty regular basis. She calls me up and, we got to go to the casino on the way back. We take our winnings and we put it in the Powerball. So it's part of a larger investment portfolio that we have here.
Do you believe your grandma has a gambling problem?
Well, she doesn't say it's a problem at all because she's using other people's money. And if you're investing other people's money, it's not a problem. Like I said, it's part of an overall investment strategy. Unfortunately, the other person's money is mine. And so I really need people to buy tickets when I come into town, you guys. I am in financial ruin, but I would appreciate that.
You can get tour dates and tickets by going to charliebarons.com. And I did mention, but I didn't say where, right? Parker Playhouse in Fort Lauderdale tomorrow night and Tampa Theater December 5th. The special is Neighborly. It is out now. And the YouTube channel is at Charlie Barons. I'd like for you to rank for me these exclamations, if you don't mind, from the Midwest.
Sure.
However it is that you think the nastiest of the exclamations is versus the least nasty. So we will start with the nastiest, and I'll just give you 7 of them. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
For crying out loud, holy smokes. I don't know if you have a pen there, a hotel pen, because I'm going to give you a bunch of these. I'm going to put you to work here, yes. For crying out loud, holy smokes, hold your horses, heavens to Betsy.
Okay, like,
all right, how is he supposed to write it down?
Them down, and
So
then you
fast.
go even faster.
This is crazy.
Jeez.
I'm at heavens to Betsy.
He's a comedian. He's professionally fast.
Clearly
Unlike,
typing.
Oh my word! For Pete's sake, or for heaven's sake, you can rank these however you want. I'll give them to you again in a different order this time,
Maybe
just
backwards?
to confuse you more. Yes, for heaven's sake, for Pete's sake, oh my word, heavens to Betsy, hold your horses, holy smokes, for crying out loud.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so I'm gonna. Most of these, if they're said with anger, they're coming from the Midwest dad, his point of view. So you got to kind of get in that phrase. So let me just try a couple of these on for size. For crying out loud, get your ass down. Okay, I feel like I got it. I got the tenor. Okay, so we're going with. Do we start? Is one like the most pissed off?
Actually, we'll give you fanfare so that we can get to the most pissed off. And thank you for playing along. So start with the least. This is the least angry a Midwest person is if they exclaim this at you.
Okay, it's going. Oh my word! Jeez. Did I win?
Well, that's you won.
We're gonna lay out the fanfare. Just do your list.
Okay, no, I like that though. Oh my word. Okay. Heavens to Betsy. Hold. Okay, this one gets tough. For heaven's sakes, for Pete's sakes, hold your horses. Holy smokes. Holy smokes should have been lower. I screwed the pooch on that one. Don't worry about it. And then for crying out loud. But for crying out loud, that's a lead up. That's an introductory clause, and you're about to. That's like a 1-2 punch. That's the jab before the cross. All right.
Yeah, they go together. You got to put it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's where I would do it.
Congratulations. It's a hell of a list. I thank you for playing along because I made that more difficult than it had to be. I can be awkward that way.
No, that's okay. I think I made it more difficult too. And in that way we relate and can connect. And, it's good we could connect over something here. And I'm sorry I got the niceness wrong on it. But we figured it out. See, I just made that awkward too. Look, connection.
Everybody likes you, don't they?
Well, I don't know. You're talking like my therapist right now. What's the next thing?
But I think likability is a part of your comedic charm, right? There is a skill involved to being a stand-up comedian that people root for, that people just simply like, and so you've gotten very good at it.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate that. Yeah, I hope people like me. I need that in my life. Actually, that's part of being a people pleaser. We could talk all about that too. Actually, that's part of the bit. I won't go into it now. Let people be surprised. But yeah, I need people to like me. I love that.
What's the toughest part of the life?
Needing everyone to like you. Yeah, that's terrible, you guys. You walk around, you're like, who even am I? I don't know. Can I hold this door open for you? I know you're 50 feet away, but that's okay. I know you don't even want me to hold this door for you, but I'm going to keep holding it for you. Aside for that, the travel, yeah.
What are the greatest perils involved with needing to be a people pleaser?
Oh my gosh, yeah. You kind of just find yourself doing very odd things. You're like, oh no, I'm not allergic to that. I got an EpiPen in my bag. I mean, I've gone to the hospital 4 different times, you guys, because I just couldn't pass up the peanuts, But it turns out they had trail mix too, but I didn't want them to feel like they weren't good peanuts, And that's a word you really got to enunciate properly, okay?
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah,
You're
because
bad
otherwise you find yourself in a much weirder people-pleasing situation, and yeah, so.
You're bad at no? Are you bad? Do you find you have some difficulty with just saying to people no?
Can't say no. No. I know, just saying it there, I mean, it gave me a pan. I got to say, if anything, yeah, no. So, there's a little, I might still do it, I'd be like, yeah, no, yeah, no. You kind of just riff it until you see their eyes light up, and you're like, I'm going to go with that answer.
He clearly can't with all the follow-up stands out.
Charlie, you might as well just cry for us because he's not going to stop till you start crying.
What are you talking
about? I love it. I mean, first of all, he doesn't know a guy from the Midwest. We haven't cried since the 80s when we were babies, man. Okay? We don't know what emotion is. We just shove it deep, deep down inside, and then we go bowling.
That's where
okay?
CharlieBarons.com is where you go for tour dates and tickets. The Lost and Found Tour, you can see it live. Again, his YouTube channel, @CharlieBarons. Appreciate the time, Charlie. Thank you for stopping in. Unfortunate that I was not able to make you cry for the first time since the 80s. I appreciate your repressions, though.
Thank you. I appreciate you appreciating that. And you guys watch for deer, all right? They pop out of nowhere.
Are you going to leave now and continue to regret that cattle reference?
Yeah, I'm still regretting it. Thanks for bringing it back up. But I like that we're lingering. I'm comfortable here, too. This is the long Midwest goodbye. So I'm about to go get you a casserole, another casserole reference. I do have a quarter cow in my fridge, so I'd be happy to say. I got some back straps from a deer I got. But anyways, yeah, I'm lingering a little too long. I can feel it. I see your hands on your cheeks.
No, he said you sold it. You sold a
sold
ticket
me.
there. He's going to see your show. He just whispered me while you were talking. I've never related to someone more in my life.
Oh, the people pleasing, Charlie. I'll be there. I can't wait to see you tomorrow.
And where are you from?
I live 5 minutes from where you're going to be performing at Parker Playhouse.
See, it's too close within the people-pleasing distance. You're like, well, I might as well walk.
That's exactly right. No, that's exactly right. I'm like, oh, I could ride my bike over there.
That's perfect. Yeah, and you save the environment. Look at that, another people-pleasing thing. Perfect.
This guy gets it. This guy gets it.
We got it, man. Yeah, we don't know who we are, but everyone else doesn't either. It's
that's
perfect.
right. People used to like me too until I joined this show.
That's that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. But you got a great Henley on you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No one ever liked you.
Jeremy, what are you talking about?
The lingering continues. Thank you. Thank you, Charlie. Good seeing you.
Okay. I'm
see you
picking up what you're putting down. We'll see you guys. Be good now.
Nice driving. Nice
Bye-bye.
driving. Nice driving.
Real good. Thank you. Say
hello to the family.
Get closer to the microphone.
Good job, Dad.
There.
You really.
Greg, I did want to ask you if you had any thoughts about the unceremonious, in the middle of the night dispensing of Chris Paul that the Clippers did, because I don't think this is the way that epic retirement tours are supposed to go at the end. You're with the Clippers. You've won 4 or 5 games this season. It's an old, terrible team. He was great last year. Chris Paul was not good. He was great last year at an advanced age, and in the middle of the night, the Clippers just sent him home. There has to be more to that story.
It's too terrible to imagine the mistreatment of an all-time great player. And something must have happened in the background that hasn't been reported yet. That's the only thing I can think of.
There are only 2 people in that sport that I can think of that have a really wonderful public image in terms of how they behave, but behind the scenes, people complain about some of their behavior, and it's Chris Paul and Doc Rivers. Those are the 2 guys that have a very different public image than the one that some people have opinions about in private.
I mean, he's on a retirement tour. all right? He announced that he's retiring a week ago, and they sent him home late at night while on an East Coast road trip. And they didn't waive him. They didn't trade him. They actually sent him home. So, I mean, I don't know if we'll ever find out. I hope that we do. But it's pretty obvious they didn't just do it on a whim. Like, something happened. Maybe it's, hey, there's a reason why we only have 5 wins this year, Ty Lue. You suck as a coach. Or, once again, he doesn't get along with James Harden. He didn't get along with him at the end of their Houston time. There's something...
Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless. Here is something we like to call reckless speculation. You're good.
It's very obvious that something happened. He's not just some innocent dude who's sitting around, hey, Chris, we're sending you home. What?
But what does that even mean, though, sent him home? Like, they haven't cut him.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
Zaz, you see what's for lunch? Thai food.
Orange chicken?
You guys crushed those pork. Those pork breakfast things got crushed by you guys.
Chicharrones?
Those were good.
Yeah, I love those.
Close to bacon.
I would bathe in that green sauce.
Hell yeah, look at that Thai food.
You don't?
No, I don't. Believe it or not.
Better save some of that sushi.
Go ahead, guys. Start without us.
We already did.
No, I was talking about our crew eating.
Oh, my God. They are crushing you. We're not going to be able to get any of that. Look at that. Look at those grazers. They always get out there early, and then what's left after when we get out there, there's nothing left.
Hey, please leave that imitation crab wrapped in asparagus. Need that.
Juju is here now. We will get to him in a second. Right before we get to him, though, I just want to put in front of you guys an email I have just gotten. Good morning, it says with an exclamation point. You all should have been contacted regarding your incoming ballots from the Heisman Trophy. Your login credentials will be coming Friday. You will need to have ballots in by 5 p.m. this Monday. Thanks and happy voting. I am not ready to vote for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, you are. You're
Trophy
voting
yet.
for Malachi Tony, and
I'm
we all
not
know
ready
it.
to do this yet. I can't do this yet. I've got a Cuban in Indiana who's got my attention. I can't ignore a Cuban quarterback in Indiana, can I?
Reuben Baines, Malaki.
Bain.
Just Bain.
Whatever.
You are
Malaki.
just...
Malaki, Tony.
Malaki.
And well, you called him that.
I can't
Only
imagine
as a joke.
the
Malaki.
bead of sweat rolling down Dan's forehead when he has to decide between 2 Hispanic quarterbacks.
It's going to be really hard. You guys got any suggestions for me? Any recommendations?
You're like the Greg Cody now of Hall of Fame ballot.
Yeah,
Drew
well,
Mestamaker.
Are you going to be watching that Big Ten title game to help you? Like, you got 2 quarterbacks that are odds on, like in that top 3, and Sayin and Mendoza. Pavia's making. Everyone's sad that Vanderbilt's not making it because they like Pavia. That's a nice little treat there for Vanderbilt if they have a Heisman Trophy winner. That's as big as a natty.
Am I going to be alone if I give Mestamaker a vote? Am I going to end up alone?
I would bet there's people who will give him like bottom of their ballot votes. I mean, he leads the country in passing in
you
nearly
get 3
every
votes.
statistic.
It's not bottom of the ballot. You
right,
get
that's what I
3
mean.
guys.
In that third vote, I would think he'll get
ranking
some third.
them though. No.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
he'll
so
get some
that's what he
third place
means,
votes. I would bet. He's at the top of the list statistically in like every category.
Dan, your top 3 needs to be all Latin guys. All right, it's got to be Mendoza, Pavia, and Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech.
Malaki.
What are we doing?
Malaki, you referred to him as Malaki, and you just referred to him as Reuben Baines.
Malaki.
That's
I deny saying it.
Okay,
Malaki.
but we have the sound right there. You can't.
That's AI.
3 Latinos, Dan. Don't overthink this.
That's AI.
All right. Juju is here, and we've got polls to update. We've got listener constructive criticism, but let's start with top 10 most disloyal moves that Juju can think of. Top 10 most disloyal sports moves. What are you laughing about, Juju?
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me, man. Always good to be here. Happy holidays. But, yeah, man, the Chris Paul move, man, it was such a disloyal move on the surface. So I couldn't help but make a top 10 disloyal list of all time in sports history that I can think of, listeners. Don't beat my door down.
Any OLI? Or you 10's a lot, so you've got 10 of them. We're going to start with number 10, or you got OLIs?
OLI, my brother. Jason Taylor leaves to go to the Jets.
This is going to be a good list.
Like that.
Yeah, he made up for it. He returned, but hey, we never forget. Also OLI, Theo Epstein goes to the Chicago Cubs.
It's a name that
grew
scares
up in
me.
Boston. Yes, sir. And it scares people in Boston these days, too. Last OLI, Jimmy Butler and that whole Heat snafu from last year. What was that?
It's a good start. You got 10 better than all of those? All right, let's see what we got.
Oh, yeah. Number 10, Bill Belichick hired by the Jets and announced his resignation the same day.
On a napkin. Wrote it down on a napkin.
Number 9, the MLB to Pete Rose. My brother bet on himself. Come on, man. He put his money where his mouth was. Get off his back.
Number 8.
Johnny Damon leaves the Boston Red Sox to go down south to New York.
That's a good list.
New
Number
York
7.
is south of Boston?
Number 7.
We got to get through these fast, Zaz. No time for talking. My boy got that look in his eyes. Katie to the Warriors.
Number 6.
Number 6. Pete Carroll leaves USC and Reggie Bush hanging.
Number 5.
Lane Kiffin to USC.
Number 4.
The Clippers, what they just did to Chris Paul.
Slides in right at number 4.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did you know that New York was south of Boston? Number 3.
And number 2, Urban Meyer leaves Florida for health reasons and signs with Ohio State next year.
That was a big one.
Good one.
I think we skipped number 3. We might be moving too fast.
Fake health issues.
We'll just go Lane Kiffin LSU. You feel me? And number 1, the most disloyal thing to ever happen in sports, to the sanctity of sports, Tanya Harding on Nicole, Nancy Kerrigan. What the hell was that? Salute.
No Billy to the Ringer, and no Carlos Boozer steals from a blind owner.
The second time the Clippers could have been on that list was Blake Griffin signing a 5-year, $20 million contract and getting shipped to Detroit 7 months later.
Juju, if anybody on this show cares about boxing world titles, it might be you. Terrence Crawford has been stripped of his WBC super middleweight world title that he won against Canelo Alvarez due to unpaid sanctioning fees.
Yeah, bro. I have never been a bigger fan of Terrence Crawford than today. You gonna tell me I gotta pay for these belts I don't whoop somebody for? Oh, no. These are mine. These are Big Daddy's, and they're staying home. You can charge them what you want to. You can name whoever you want to name the champion, but everybody know. The streets know what's going on, so salute to Terrence Crawford, for sure.
What is that all about? Can you give me any more information on that? Is that something that's common? Like the stripping, the stripping of titles based on not being willing to pay fees?
Right. I think it was somewhere around like 300,000, something like that. Yeah, 300,000 WBC sanctioning fee. I mean, I guess.
Never heard of that.
That's wild. It looks like Deshaun Watson might play football this season. What? Have fun with that.
Yep.
He's been designated for return to practice. So
Can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is happening there? Like,
kick the tires, see what you have in the war horse.
Roy, I'm not certain if that's a sound that's coming out of you right now or if that's a sound from before. I can't totally tell. It's the sound I saw you making while Greg Cody was doing his impassioned post-game speech yesterday.
I woke up this morning. I'm like, you know what's missing from the national discourse? A Deshaun Watson start.
We have some constructive criticism from the listeners today. What do you have for us in the way of constructive criticism?
Yes, sir. You guys are perfect. I'm done telling y'all what y'all should be better at. I feel like that's lame as hell. Who am I, the lame police? Like, you know what I mean? The constructive man. So I'm going to start listening and trusting the audience. And especially I'm going to start with myself. I'm going to lead by example. Let's see what my boy Fonz Mike says. Please stop laughing so much during your segment. It makes it damn near unlistenable. And you know what, Mike Fonz? I got you, brother. I'm going to stop laughing as much. When I come on here, it's a thing that black people do. We code switch. We see some Caucasus Mountains, and then we be like, oh, sir. And so I turn into that every single time I come on this show, bruh. And so I'm going to do a better job of just being my authentic ghetto self. And I got you, Mike Fonz. Salute to you, brother.
I believe this segment began with me asking you, what are you laughing about, Juju? before we got to the
That was the first thing that you said, Dan.
Do you have
Literally. but yeah, I'm gonna get better at it. Look, I'm work in progress. You feel me? I'm gonna try my best because I know how it be. So, especially you out there listening to an audio product, and here comes Chucklefuck over here laughing at his own damn top 10 list. I feel y'all.
Do you have any advice that you have to share in general? Because I'm always finding your advice valuable.
Yes, sir, man. And this holiday season, a lot of kids around the world now, little boys and little girls, can take part in the illustrious sport of football. And I know that parents know how rare it is for you to get a job in the NFL, especially as a little black kid in the ghetto trying to come up, make your way. You got to be really good. So here's my advice. As good as your son or daughter is at playing quarterback, running back, wide receiver, man, also give them a trade. After practice, send them over there with the punters in middle school and start punting early. Get you some field goal tries in. Try to get your field goal game up early because, hey, them jobs, as you see on TV these days, you can get one of those if you just stay consistent from middle school on. So, yeah, all my black kids out there, ain't nothing wrong with being a punter, man. Punters get paid. You did. So, yeah.
Right.
Put it on the poll, Juju, please, at Le Batard Show. All my black kids out there, is there anything wrong with being a punter? Yeah.
I'm not putting that.
Oh, Reggie Roby over here.
What are you doing?
Long question.
It's a good question. Let's update those polls at Le Batard Show. What do you got?
Did you know that the MLS Cup final is this Saturday? 78% of the audience says no, they did not. Damn. Did you know that Inter Miami are the Herons? 85% of the audience says no, they did not. Did you know that Vancouver's soccer team is called the Whitecaps? 51% of the audience says yes, they did. Huh. Look at the big brain on these Whitecap fans. Are herons, ibises, and cranes basically the same thing? 83% of the audience says yes, they are. Should Mina Kimes and Ben Solik just handle the college football playoff rankings? 81% of the audience says yes, they should. Is a piece of pizza? No. If a piece of pizza is walking, is the crust the head or the feet? 86% of the audience says yes because I messed up that poll.
Either way, you could call it Christopher Walken.
Oh, and Jeremy's back.
Hold on a second. Let me see.
Hold on a second.
You better give me a key mix. That's crazy!
My bad, Jeremy. I tried. Who was more terrified this weekend? Young Hoku's Holder or Matt Stafford when he was hydroplaning? 79% of the audience says Young Hoku's Holder. Is it kind of bullshit, tough shit? 90% of the audience says yes, it is.
Yep.
And two more polls. Have you failed at life if you're referred to as the puke cannon guy? Come on, guys. 86% of the audience says yes. I'm here to say no, you're not. It don't matter if you're a puke cannon guy, a garbage man. You, sir, are valuable. And you better hold that puke cannon, my brother. You got a good job. Last poll. In a fight, do you need to be wary of the guy with the hairy shoulders? 92% of the audience says yes, and those are your polls.
Juju, where do you fall in the pizza debate? Is he standing up? Is the crust the head? Is the crust the legs?
He walks on four legs. He slides.
Yeah. Is the crust the head or the legs? Yes or no?
It doesn't walk. The pizza does not walk upright.
Yes, it does. Look.
Right, you got him doing
a crab that proves it.
Yep, that proves it right there. I'm looking at it.
Clearly the crust up top. It's like it's like his hair.
Yeah. Right. Nice box.
Man, the one on the right's got no arms.
Bit of news. The Chiefs-Cowboys Thanksgiving Day game achieved a record 57.2 million viewers. It is now considered the most watched regular season game ever, and this part's gnarly, beating the previous record by 36%.
I mean,
Damn.
57 million is an insane number.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
It peaked with 61.3 million viewers at one time.
That's half a Super Bowl. Like that's what the Super Bowl does. Like that's half of what the Super Bowl does. A regular season game. That's just wow. That is crazy. Juju, thank you, sir. Good talking to you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Rest in peace, Eldon Campbell. We love you.